I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall, my love. If you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Todos. Ciao Vincenzo, ciao Giuse. Devo far partire il timer. Allora, c'è tutto? Partita?
FNCS this weekend. They're two incredible players. Of course, Janice has won FNCS titles in the past, 3 of them, in fact. So this is a team that have been performing very, very well this season. And I wanted to have a little look. I wanted to have a little look at one particular game from these guys in the past to really highlight why they're so good, why they're able to make those endgame calls or not, and find success. And it all starts, of course, at their drop spot at the Reckless.
Servono i sottotitoli?
Split when going for these storm surge tags. In this instance, they were
Chiedo a voi, chiedo a voi.
they're contested, so maybe we'll see them doing that a little bit less, but so much control
Ah, tra l'altro
over
io
this
devo
entire area. You can even see going out towards this bush area, they get so many storm
Sì,
surge
ma
tags
che
from this.
ci danno
This
prima
as
il tempo
well,
per
they're actually using one of
allenarsi,
the
no?
Crashpad Juniors in conjunction
Boh,
with one
stai
of these
saltando.
slot barrels that actually has the flowberry effect in it. Not many people know that, and we can see Flixie and Janice rotating like that.
Ah no,
Janice
sto anche aspettando.
fell there a little bit. We'll cross over that quickly as Flixie actually makes his way towards the center of the zone, and that's a key element of their early to mid game. It's all about getting into that zone as quickly as possible after they've of course got those storm surge tags at that point. The way they use catches is really nice as well, building up.
Le cache sono una cosa importante. Ciao Ketram.
All about getting that storm surge early and getting into a nice position via any method that they please.
Yeah, I like the train rotations. Frankie knows all about that. Yeah, the drive.
3 ore durano.
But you know what, Mini? I will say when it comes to a lot of
Le
these sort of
francesi?
early to mid game strategy, I
Mhm.
think things look pretty ironclad.
Fino
You
alle
mentioned
10,
they're,
10
contested today, right? It's going to be Robin and Medax at that spot. Then
Iniziano un
No,
quarto,
questo è il
io
primo,
dice un quarto.
questo qua è il primo round, domani c'è l'altro.
Sono le 5 partite queste qua.
Oh raga,
Sì, mi sembra di sì.
Sono
raga, io
5-5.
devo andare a mangiare.
vai.
Vai,
C'è più
vai,
me a
vai.
mangiare.
Vai, guardati la mia stream per vederti come vanno.
Cazzo faccio? Devo andare sopra.
Col telefono, se su YouTube. Vabbè, fai come vuoi, ciao Simo.
Vai, vai.
Ho detto mi muto solo.
Cosa hai detto?
Vai, vai, vai.
Mi muto solo.
Mutati.
vai.
Grazie.
Mutami solo.
Inizia, però guarda che bello studio che c'ha Mr. Savage. Sto contrasto
Esattamente
è...
solo la chiave.
Hai visto i fattorini che l'hanno riconosciuto? Anche questo io voglio prendermi sto tappetino, mi sa che non c'è.
They're not always so good at surviving as a duo once things do get contested. I love the planning, I love the thought that's going into this, especially from yourself, Mini Miner. But I want some other
Ma non l'ho mai vista Frankie.
Are you also saying this duo
Frango,
Vrango.
puoi cantare What is Love?
And I think they are definitely the favorite. I think in terms of, if you looked at every team in the lobby, you'd say these guys have the best circumstances. But I don't know, Frankie, things look perfect. They look a bit too perfect. I feel like FNCSs don't quite go that way.
Ma questi qua sono uno di fianco all'altro e si guarda negli occhi, perché da come stanno parlando sembra che si guarda negli occhi. Oh. Ciao.
Oh,
Sì.
ehi. Ehi, è così.
Mi sistemo gli occhiali.
Lasciate la... ok, no. Ma una cau.
Vorrei che mentre aspetto che inizino vado a fare riscaldare l'acqua.
Vai.
And I think they might struggle with that come, sort of the later games of the FNCS, especially if someone decides to contest them, which is possible, right? There's a bunch of teams in this lobby who have landed reckless so far this season. But look, let me focus on why do I think they have the edge? When you look at
Che fine per qualificarti negli upper ti serviva soltanto una win. E basta.
Ma adesso una win vale 60 punti.
Adesso, ma prima negli upper valeva 1000 punti.
Una win 60 e ogni kill 4. Invece domani una win 100 e una win 100 e una kill 6.
Inizia però 4 kill e 6 punti a kill. Cioè 4 punti a kill e 6 punti a kill sono tanti. Ma è già
Ma arriveranno tipo a 400 punti.
ti trovi il team
Nelle giornate.
ti trovi il team che non perde nessun fight e che è continuamente.
Nessuno quindi.
Esatto.
Quelli presenti.
No.
Oh! Ma non avete tirato quello?
Ah, non sono più teammate? Veno è così?
No, bene con Tyson.
Ah, ok. Anch'io sono un real problem with the sniper.
Sì, troppo forte effettivamente. Dovrebbero ne fare.
A me basta.
Yeah, it seems like that is something that they're happy with right now in terms of Surge. I think they're going to run into a few problems.
Primo game chi lo vince?
Chi lo vince?
A vedere qualificati, va.
Non lo so.
Poi mi tengo il tracker qua di fianco.
Ah, però devo attivare anche il tracker volendo,
Eventi. Europa. Ma ci sono le FNCS anche in Middle East.
Ah, sì. Cosa si guarda tanto in Europa? Middle East chi ne frega.
Non sono ancora startate. Però vorrei vedere quelle di... quelle di oggi. Oggi è il 24, sì?
Sì.
Ma me lo fa vedere, va bene, perfetto. Però vorrei vedere quelle vecchie, non me le fai vedere, vero?
No, perché stai guardando il Grand Final, tu devi vedere.
Queste semifinals lower. Nelle lower in Europa sono qualificati in 15 e sono Buff, Predator, questi non so chi siano, Savage Mongrel, Rickbor, Darky, Belusi e Gabix. Oh, tu mi non conosco. Ah, c'è King, settimo, qualificato.
Chi è King? Air
Quello lì
King.
quello lì che si è qualificato alle World Cup della Season 8, capitolo 1.
Ah,
Poi
oddio.
diventa un casino di soldi per la famiglia lì, come se. Non mi ricordo. Mi sembra che lui non mi ricordo. Invece nelle upper non so se tutti si qualificati. Tutti non. Vediamo nelle upper chi c'era. Nelle upper cos'era? Top 25? No, top 15. No, negli upper non c'era nessuno che conosco. No, non c'era assolutamente nessuno.
Vediamo quante view ho sul tracker.
Agua.
Io ho 148 views sul tracker.
Io ne tipo 80.
500 win totali. Ma che secondo schifo faccio?
Io non lo so, vediamo. 500 ne hai?
Sì.
Io ne ho, vediamo. No, sono in sta season. Io ne ho 711. Come no? Quanto hai giocato?
Ore? 5004.
Dove lo vedi?
È sul coso di. Che cosa faccio a
Ne ho
dirtelo?
800 ne ho 855.
Ma dove?
Sì, overview.
Vedi, a me mostra 447.
No, di ore giocate, quanto hai?
5004.
Dove vedi?
Su Epic.
Sul mouse, segnamelo. Non sul tracker, dove lo stai vedendo? Sul launcher. Sì, mentre intendevo dal tracker dove le vedevi, ho capito, ho capito. E se si guardano dal tracker, comunque non ha senso.
Qua. Sai cosa? Molte non me l'ha presa. Squadra 5.000, 5.500.
Anch'io più o meno, se conto tutti da Play, da Switch e da qua, più o meno anch'io, 4.000 per.
C'ho il 30% di win.
Sono quelle di sta season, tipo delle ultime season.
Da overview. Ah, però qua mi dà 885 ore giocate.
Vedi, a me ne dà 990. Qua. Quindi mi sa o questa season o nelle ultime season.
Poi ho scritto lifetime.
Quante partite hai fatto? Totali?
12.831.
Io ho 7.000.
27?
No, non 27.000, 7.000.
510.
417.
Ne ho fatte 100 in vita.
È il meno win di me. Ah no, quante win hai fatto sta season? Clicca.
Da Switch. No, aspetta, voglio vedere. Ne ho fatte 125.
Ah, io ho fatto 67.
Buono. Non ho mangiato.
Poi devo vedere. Allora no, è buggato. Era buggato, le win totali sono buggate allora.
Cosa?
335 millesimo sono.
Io sono 748
Fate legge partita.
Ma com'è possibile, scusami?
Vedi, è buggato.
Ma
Io ho un win rate del 10%. Tu quanto fai?
3.
Ah, ok. Però tu sei top 2 milioni e io sono top 800.000. Però le win sono buggate.
Cioè io qua sono top 335.000. No. No.
Io sono 300.000.
Season G 18 win. Season 4 18 11. Perché a me le prende dopo.
No, aspetta.
A me le prende dopo il capitolo 3.
No, comunque è buggato, non è buggatissimo. No, perché mi conta.
Ma io non posso guardare sotto il capitolo 3.
A me dice che ho guardato, ho fatto 4 win da PC, è impossibile.
Che bello.
Vabbè, continuiamo a guardarci la Steam.
Top 0.1% a 3.221.000 milioni.
Lo guardate? Lo guardate?
Ah, non l'ho visto.
Sì, guardate.
Niente, già a terra.
Europa.
Già a terra cringe. Minchia.
Vediamo un po'. Oh, sono tutti qua, sono. Due team. Tre team qua. Dai, un po' di schiudi.
Interessato.
Qui si sta
Basta, già morto. Basta, già morto.
Ma come?
Come?
Sì.
È vero?
Non è vero.
Sì,
No,
sì,
forse era
sì.
game normale. Forse era game normale, non era...
Mi sono mai crashato.
No, probabilmente... No, no, probabilmente era un game normale.
Sì.
E si dice Eddy.
Aspetta. È il replay. È il replay.
È un replay, ma non...
No, 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 è un game FHS.
No.
Già morto, l'ha già preso.
È trollato qua, eh.
Non trollato, sì, 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 di brutto.
No, no, erano in torneo.
E li ha killato.
Sto guardando.
Sì, ha trollato, ha trollato.
Ma lol. Che siamo?
Sì, hanno rubato la casetta a Rick, l'hanno contestato con la drop, forse.
Sì.
Vabbè, hanno fatto un game. Però sono ancora 0 punti, quindi si può ancora fare. Quanti game hanno? Infiniti?
Aspetta.
Hanno 5 game.
Riesci
No,
a
sono in server. Cioè... Ah, vedi, hai il buffo da Mixon.
Non è vero.
Qua sopra è apparso.
Ti sta vicino, non è ancora entrato.
Ma sì, sta giocando.
Sì. Sì.
No,
Ah,
non
no,
sto
è
guardando,
vero.
sto guardando.
Uno HD sta guardando.
E perché?
Che è già entrato.
Ma che pensa,
Non entra, non riesce a entrare. Ho detto che non riesce a entrare.
Qui c'è dal buffo.
Ma buffo non può neanche
C'è uno che si
restartare.
chiama- C'è uno che si chiama Wage Feed.
Oh, ho obliterato uno.
Bello. Bella mira.
Sì.
Non l'ha preso una volta.
Questo qua? Che sta guardando...
Lazen. Che si dice?
Legend, si dice. Legend.
Ragazzi, la vedo un po' indietro la live di...
So che è meglio Fortnite.
Sto fightando Vadel. Stai guardando la live di Fortnite che sta guardando Vadel. Ah, ok.
Oh, ma quel tipo da solo lì? Sta fucillando quel rampino?
Quale?
Ce n'era uno di fianco a questi che stanno fightando che...
Guarda che stanno guardando il replay per capire dove cade, dove va la gente.
Ah, Thomas HD c'è già 8 punti.
Allora forse l'ha fatto... L'hanno fatto apposta magari, eh?
Può essere.
Però no, non avrebbe senso, perché non può restartare subito, quindi non ha senso.
Non so.
Sì, ma guarda come... Cioè, lui sta andando a vedere ogni drop della gente. Almeno un minimo sta guardando dove è andata la gente.
But they're almost waiting for that perfect moment to strike. As now Resin continues breaking through the opponent. Is feeling nervous. Grapple blade made or put up to good use now, and it looks like Prism's gonna get out of there.
Yeah, so
Passa lo spam al pad player. No, scherzo.
Oh, Eddie,
Dimmi.
c'è anche Mike, quello lì che fa tipo le live sui tornei.
Sì, lo so.
l'avevo detto. Mi può guardare anche quello. Oh, Belusi e Gabi sono 8 punti.
No, ho
Sì,
visto.
anche Tommaso HD anche 8 punti.
Confermo. Non ha fatto 2 kill.
Guarda, stai fightando.
Ma lo sto picando.
Vigo sta sopra Q2 e Akiro.
Non capisco se Mr. Savage c'ha il game online, ma no.
No, non sta giocando, non sta giocando.
Ah, ma Gabi, come si chiama? Mike in maratona.
Pronto.
Anche sono in maratona.
Ma perché mi stai non sta giocando? Scusa.
I don't know.
Che manco Memoria sta guardando.
Quando sta facendo Mike di maratona? Di ore.
7 ore e 40.
Ah.
Sì, ma fa una sub 4 minuti e 100 bit 2 minuti.
Io ho paura di Simo. Vedi Simo 2010. No, di Samu. Io ho paura di te perché tu ieri hai detto se vai in maratona succede un casino. Io ho paura di te.
No,
Io non c'ero.
Grazie, apprezzo.
Minchia, che sai che buona è la roba più buona che esiste.
Vero.
Io devo ancora mangiarmi un paninazzo con le salamelle.
Borga Gabix c'ha il pump spammone viola. Anche Belusi.
Niente ragazzi, hanno vinto. Hanno vinto. Ma scusi, ma se...
No, fra. Ova sbagliato.
Cos'è?
Praticamente ti ha preso una cecchinata.
Non ho capito niente, capito? No?
Sai che o Ova o Vico.
Vico.
Ha sbagliato a grappare, andare avanti e si è preso una cecchinata da dietro.
Bello.
Pure Malibuca sta giocando, è a distese.
Non lui c'era sulla distesa.
Setti sta fuori safe. I miei setti sono fuori safe in questo momento.
Ma Malibuca è russo o no?
Oh, Rickborg contro Gabix.
Sì, ma Luca sì.
Setti allora vuoi?
No, ma raga, mi stanno puttando le italiane. Ma io non ci credo.
Setti stanno facendo... Setti sta facendo la phishing.
Ma come?
Che veno.
Che fate, Raptor? Stiamo guardando le FNCS?
Guardate che veno. Fa la mitraglietta.
Sono le FNCS queste qua.
Epica. Messo benissimo, vero. C'è 0 punti.
Comunque ciao Raptor. Benvenuto. Baffo è proprio sta continuando a guardare il suo coso.
Ma io non sto capendo perché non stanno giocando.
Non lo so, probabilmente vedono che vendono gli altri.
Baffo è morto. E serve selvaggio.
Ha detto... No, Mr. Savage ha detto che...
Ciao Vincenzo, benvenuto proprio.
Mezz'ora
Il selvaggio mi sa che non è riuscito a entrare.
Appena detto.
Dimmi.
Comunque sei andata bene perché non mi funziona YouTube da telefono.
Fallo funzionare, no scherzo. Fallo funzionare così c'è uno spect in più. Tranquillo Vincenzo. Quando stiamo guardando FNCS oggi?
YouTube mi fa, ho bisogno di un aggiornamento, vado su Play Store mi fa aggiorna, è impossibile aggiornarlo.
C'è poco spazio sul telefono.
No, peccato che lagga un botto, se no si vedrebbe anche... Aspetta, vediamo.
Cos'è che lagga?
La live di Mike.
Ah.
Sta guardando Rick.
Finisce la live, la live finisce con il timer lì sopra. Quando finisce il timer lì sopra finisce la live. Il timer qua sopra.
surge turns off. So if it's above that player count, storm surge will activate. You see in zone 3 requires 90 remaining players, and since we're at 75,
Adesso giochi la tastiera grande.
until about zone 4, maybe zone 5.
And although there are 24 players competing in their first ever FNCS finals, there's also some of the most experienced veterans in Fortnite competitive competing here today.
Boh, ma Belusi e Gabi sono in chill. Hanno 8 punti e sono tutto lutto epico.
These difficult storm surge lobbies. You can see the
Anche Veno è messo benissimo.
facing up on top of ridges, hills, high elevated areas.
Ora, se non posso dirlo.
Ma chi sta guardando?
Hydrop.
Savage sta guardando al...
I clicks mi sa.
It might be much more
Pizza.
difficult.
No. Ma che è?
Ah, aspetta, voglio vedere se Chris sta giocando.
Clicks è in America, non può giocare adesso, non è in Europa.
In realtà lo potrebbe fare, ma...
No. Cioè, non...
Non gioca.
Ma Belusi come si chiama su Twitch?
Belusi? Belusi. No, scherzo, non lo so.
Non me lo trova.
Belusi staccato FN. Non sbaglio.
Looking back,
Gabix in live, mi sa.
potentially could make history
No, in realtà non lo
this
so.
weekend, coming from the Brazilian region, competing on
Vieni in
EU,
live.
and in the first
Chi?
FNCS they do
Belusi no.
making it to the grand
Belusi.
finals. We did see that they're contested, but in game 1 they have come out on top. So they are definitely starting off strong. And look at this,
Già lì
Jacob,
isola
3 separate duos all at the
X.
same time going for Rift Island.
Che sì.
Ah, mi sa che non è in live.
So
Ah,
much
in
loot
live.
gather up there, the elevation, the heals, it's just a huge resurgence to your game.
Io non live di niente.
Venom's gonna be the one on top of the mountain.
Pensi io vado sotto.
Bene, bene. Ciao, Simo.
Gathering information for him and
Sì,
Tayson. And as soon as they don't like the position, they're going back to farming up. A lot of players here are stuck now on top of Rift Island. Have to make that decision. Do they actually want to contest the point or just find their position at the top and try to shoot around?
I mean, there's so many objectives each of these duos could have. They might just want to get to a position where there's a lot of duos around them so they can get that damage, get those tags. They might just want the loot from the flag. They might just want to be in a good position where they have that option to rotate when zone does pull further. Under the Rift Island, there are rifts that appear that a lot of duos will be boxing up on. There's launch pads on the Rift Island that you can use to rotate. There's so many factors, so many benefits that you can get from this location.
A sbagliarci un pochino di lag.
It's all about damage.
Dove?
Dentro il server di Fortnite.
Ma credo siano proprio lo spectate. Cioè, credo che sia...
No, da una live c'è uno che sta giocando, ci ha messo un fottio a farsi un box.
Ah, probabile, allora. Ma sì, ma è ovvio, cioè i server fanno vomitare.
Si immagina 0 delay nei server FNCS.
Ma sì, ma se giocassero in... come hanno giocato quest'estate, forse sì.
No,
Cioè,
volendo
non
sì.
è... Visto che, essendo che stanno giocando da casa, non è ovvio che non lag.
Throughout
No,
the
non
map,
si
the
sta nessuno.
engagements that arise from it.
Non giocano in LAN.
But I believe Pink and Vico even taking shots at a solo there. He has disengaged now, but in 2 separate boxes, they do have more vision. There's 20 seconds until 4th zone closes. So we'll have to see here what their game plan is.
Yeah, just looking around, looking in the mini map.
No,
Not too
vabbè,
many
raga.
full teams on the side of the map. 4
La
total
prima
out of
di
38.
Mr. Savage.
Maybe even a fifth if you look
Quello che
there,
ha fatto partire Nigga,
solos
Nigga,
scattered
Nigga,
in and out of
Ma
the
come? No, anche nella mia stream, coglione.
when you're stacked up on the
Oh,
congested side of zone
mica
as
hai
a solo.
dimenticato.
Vaniac and Sinek.
Non gioca, che...
Ragazzi, non è vero.
C'era
C'era una F davanti, ragazzi. Tranquilli, tranquilli.
Non avevo detto tutt'altro che quella parola.
Dimmi, Vincenzo. Mannaggia, Samu. Mannaggia. Potevi dire di tutto. Potevi dire di tutto. Ho detto le new word da Mr. Savage. Ho detto tutto. No, devi ripeterlo proprio uguale, identico.
That they can reform up on. Even making use of the smoke
Però
that is
l'intonazione era perfetta.
lock onto their opponents as they're up above. Looking Rift Island now. Tayson Veno running lower and lower on HP. You're gonna be forced to use heals on the rotate here.
Scraps left behind in the capture point.
Ha vinto rank ad oggi, ma che rank sei,
Very
Vincenzo?
fizz, so even though it is in this zone, Takata, Rift Island, the zone pulls so far away from it more times than not. Not every time, but more times than not. Flowberry Fizz, launch pad is going to allow Venom and Tayson to fly so high and so far into the zone. They can see every player that's currently positioned in and out of it, so they can find themselves the perfect spot to try to get in. Granted, hopefully they don't get sniped or taken down along the way, because then that'll be the only wrench in the gameplay.
Even after going to Rift Island and taking shots back and forth with the duos contesting it, they're just 44
Io ho sempre voluto il deltaplano di
above the
Tyson.
current threshold as they quickly decide
Quelli del
Non l'ho visto.
inizia che
Ma è season 4 quello.
no, è uno shoppabile.
Ah, ok. Source del pass.
It's gonna come in.
Such high risk, high reward play,
Shop,
very, very
shop
early
quelli del
for Venom and
razzo con
Tayson.
il deltaplano dietro.
Seeing as they
Ho
are
tutti gli italiani vivi tranne Buff e Predator.
they're gonna box themselves up as a just in case, a plan B, while they try to look for shots elsewhere.
No, tutti gli italiani vivi.
no.
ho detto.
Does have the Reaper sniper, could definitely pick up a ton of damage in the blink, but not
Però
like
larghissimo
Tason's
Buff
smart
e
player out.
Predator.
Venom's gonna try to land a shot, doesn't click through, and you can see they're
Ma ci sono
falling
ancora
below
10
that damage threshold, and you see their plan
Sono
B
ancora-
behind them. Tayson
X-Force,
looking at it,
Prism
seeing
ucciso.
when do they go versus when do they continue
Casper
to do this.
Novik ucciso.
Ah no, ma c'è qualcosa che non va.
Down to 31 above. As the pressure continues, so does the risk.
Ah, ma è di.
Tayson now
Ma mi sa che stava facendo due game diversi comunque. Perché la live di Mike non è la stessa di Fortnite.
Come no? È Fortnite questo.
No. Lo so, ma mi sa che sta giocando due game diversi.
Ah, ci sono due partite?
E boh, perché dal coso di Mike sono alla quarta safe. Invece su Fortnite sono alla sesta.
Poi mi
Quindi-
ricordo anche Savage, guarda quanto indietro è. Baffo imploso. Baffo non so.
Raga, ma Mr. Paper sta guardando la stream di Reale.
Guarda che rotation che hanno fatto.
Still not enough to be over. In about 30 seconds, this will activate and put them in a tougher spot than they are right now.
Big pots being dropped, being split between the duo as they continue to just look at the box fight. But in the meantime, there's so many duos now rotating in their surroundings down below. You can see Tayson heard a bit of the action. You can see it's actually Bevy's Pablo just in front of their box here. As they've maybe decided they don't want to continue the box fight with the players close.
La screen di Buff è crashata.
This is all or nothing.
No, è morto Rickbor. No, non è vero. No, è crashato.
Viene atterrato.
Pablo's trying to heal up. Tayson's trying to give himself more space. There is a chance he can get Veno back, but he has to build himself space, and he's doing the perfect plays to give himself a chance back into this game. But Zaniacs and Ed, they hear noise going down, and they focus the other solo out. So Veno Tayson is successful, and another chance into this game.
No, c'è questo lì. Lo so, Vincenzo. Non porta
But all they wanted was that damage. And they got the damage without even losing a player. As now they do have the shields to recuperate what was lost during the engagement. I believe they're a little over 250 above and can focus a bit more now on positioning. As Malibuca Merstash also in a critical situation. They do have the medallion, which is going to help them get up to 50 shield, but at the same time,
sta facendo FPS in questo momento, Vincenzo. Non so.
143 above the Storm Surge threshold. This is very big.
Chi è che sta giocando ancora?
Italiani?
No, in generale. Che fa live.
Ma sta giocando in roba di altri,
Tanto lo vedo dalla live di Savage. Tanto lo vedi dalla live di Savage.
Giusto. Chi altro c'è? Pink.
Forse c'è ancora Tyson.
No, c'è Pink.
And now they're following in tandem along with Malibuca or Mustache, and with that Flowberry Fizz, they're gonna pass them up, and this is their chance to get to the zone and then begin to worry about that surge.
Especially if they're able to get here first, they will
Pink non sta giocando.
the option to look back on all
I don't know.
the duos that are rotating through, but you want to get a bit elevated
Probably.
for that, as we can see Kiddo lost his duo partner. No floppers left, 33 HP, ticking quicker and quicker. As now just 10 left, connects a couple shots, but he would need a blessing to get out of this situation.
Vino in live?
Small fry just wasn't enough
Chi?
to get
Veno?
the HP
Veno?
and go to zone, but
Non lo so.
Tyson Venom,
Dimmi,
back
Vincenzo,
where we've
dimmi.
seen him before. In yet another fight, but this time around 200 above the damage threshold. They're gonna have more control over their game from here on out. With 41 players, 23 teams still left alive. Even though they're a full duo, there's 5 solos running around this lobby trying to collect those solo points.
They were put into panic from Storm Surge. They were forced to go all in. And although they lost a lot of their HP, they are now healthy enough inside of the zone and have a chance to make it to the end game. But for Putrick, on the other hand, he did lose his duo partner during the hunt. Now needing to below, forced to take those shots and look for that damage as players start rotating through. It's all duos in the surrounding area. Putrick needs a miracle.
He's trying to go ahead and rotate while getting the shot, but hasn't been successful so far. Even a couple shots ticking in, and all the damage has been done.
Non so come tardi, però volendo sì, se si allunga il timer della live, magari si dà una mano avanti.
Raga, ma c'è Rickbor ancora lo yacht. Ma c'è Rickbor allo yacht.
È morto.
No, è vivo.
Morto, l'hanno ucciso.
Allora dalla live...
Mike è un bot indietro.
Sembra di sì, perché lui è in yacht.
Morto Rickbor. Anche Tyson e Veno sono morti.
Allora,
Queasy che c'ha 15 di vita, messo malissimo. Full contestato.
Non c'è nessuno in live comunque.
Dio?
Perché comunque probabilmente non vogliono laggare.
Dimmi Vincenzo.
Sì, beh, ma c'è di italiani, non c'è
Ti ho detto,
nessuno.
se allungano il timer della live magari ti faccio io ti vengo a aiutare con il PC. Anche con l'Osbicov ti dà una mano.
You know how much Aqua likes to play on the high ground with 3 elims already. Holding it from the first zone can be a risky move, but at the same time, first match grand finals, so many resources have been used in
Lo
these
so
duos,
Vincenzo,
just trying to
stavo
get enough
attenti
damage
le
and make
FNCS
it
e
into
robe varie.
zone.
No,
Enough
doveva
for
fare
enough for them to hold on to
nelle
it. Resin now,
FNCS e
huge impact there, recuperating the
Guarda
materials.
come è tornato
2
indietro,
elims on the
Porello.
board total, but
Sì.
you can see they need to
Reson,
stay
guarda.
together on this rotate.
Ma c'è proprio... No, non credo sia il gioco.
Replay che lag.
Esatto.
Non sto giocando, sto guardando come...
Guardate lag ogni volta che prendo in mano l'edit inizia laggato.
Sì, sì, sì.
Oh!
Perfetto, Pink morto. Pink aveva anche medaglione.
Oh, stiamo a 30 punti. Come li hanno presi? Quanti punti hanno gli altri?
Una kill, 2 kill.
Oh, Gabi si è venuti là sotto.
Tutti quanti questi qua hanno minimo 22 punti.
E niente, raga, vado a andare.
Madò, comunque che casino. Immagina avere un PC non decente e farsi...
Ecco la Sbicov.
Cosa?
Immagina qualificarsi all'FNCS e trovarti qua in mezzo.
Con un PC come il mio.
Ma alla Landi portare il tuo PC?
No, no, sono loro.
Però porti
Probabilmente loro...
la tua attrezzatura però.
Credo di sì, il mouse. Non lo so. Ma probabilmente neanche quelli, perché magari è qualcosa di particolare, capito? Però boh, non lo so. Malibu che è morto.
L'ha preso. Morto Malibuca, morto Gabix. Gabix lì.
Oh, Blues ancora vivo.
Se qualcuno riesce a prendere lì veloce subito pezzi di montagna, ok, posso. Sono messi bene. Per me vincono quelli che sono in high.
Lui è un full high che sta cambiando in PRF. E poi sempre il 20 vinto. Aspetta, non li droppa. Anche perché se uno punta troppo lì gli vengono distrutti.
Poi c'è un rampino, non ha senso.
E anche il succo.
Infatti stanno costruendo il legno. 50 build per
Perché non conosco un nome di quelli che
per
stanno giocando
Kite,
adesso.
un operatore di Rainbow Six. 80 punti. Ha fatto
E
80
adesso tira un muro in metallo, tira il coso elettronico e così non può senza
8 kill anche loro, cioè,
100 punti di blue game che ce l'ha.
Mamma mia, 96 punti.
Oh, buono, buono.
Raga, ma Aqua mi sta giocando.
Mamma mia, Loki. Loki, mamma mia, si ha fatto un po' di punti. 100 qualcosa.
Un po' di punti.
E un po' di punti, cioè ne ha fatti molto di più rispetto ai secondi che ha fatto tanti punti. Pink non c'è per niente di delay, c'era tipo un secondo di delay.
Perché sta guardando anche lui la forti. Quindi tipo
Mr. Savage, guarda dov'è. C'è ancora Kaid che ha appena fatto le kill.
Even with a trade, the edit with the cone, the frenzy shotgun, they just played that almost flawlessly to take game 1.
il frenzy shotgun. You know, oh, sono cambiati i brothers. Adesso c'è e Giacomo.
Ci sta
Uno c'ha il microfono in faccia e l'altro non ce l'ha. Eccoli, Minatore, Eleven e Franco.
Minatore e Franco.
To Jacob PR's incredible shirt. Best dressed of the night, I have to say. But let's talk about the best duos of the
Ma mi stai c'è la pubblicità su te stesso. Ma cosa?
Mi sa c'è la pubblicità sopra.
On Noah and Aqua as we headed into the moving zone 11.
Oh, saltano entrano adesso. Sì, stanno entrando ora.
Però partire con 100 punti di ritardo sono tanti.
Ma non ho capito cosa è successo, ma qui.
Poi è strano perché erano 100 le persone dentro.
E infatti.
Ma tipo sono morti start.
Ma come fai? Come facevano a essere 100?
And they're in the grand finals and they've won the first game looking very, very strong. I mean, this is definitely a surprise, but a pleasant one.
Yeah, and to add to that, it wasn't as if the zone was right on their drop spot either. It was quite a central zone.
Sono morti subito.
Ma se contava 100 allo start, non...
Conta 100 allo start,
Oh.
Into the grand finals, they can definitely pop off, and that's definitely ruffled the feathers, as you mentioned, from some of our big names. I mean, we saw some great performances there from some of the names, but a lot of big teams weren't actually performing right there. Some difficult zones as well with all the water. So really impressed as to how well they did on low ground. I think for me, it's all about Aqua and Noah. What happened to those guys? How did they not end up winning that? But it was really well played from these guys down on low. That's what we have to highlight.
Absolutely.
Do you think that long rotation from the northwest, do you think that actually worked out in their favor because they were able to kind of lie low when they needed to, Arian and Loki, Mini?
I think it definitely benefited them in some ways. There was a few fights like that Queasy Thomas fight went a little bit longer, so it kind of delayed their rotation. I'm sure they would have farmed a little bit of Storm Surge around that area. So whether it's going to benefit them to run throughout the rest of today and tomorrow, I'm not too sure because of course, you know, long zones can be quite difficult sometimes. But whatever they did in that particular game seemed to work.
60 dovrebbe essere.
Now that begs the question of how are the other teams going to react? Of course, we've had game number 1.
No, è impossibile, è 80 mi sa la win. Perché hanno fatto 6 kill, mi sembra, quindi 3 per 4. Se hanno riuscito 24 punti. Sì, dovrebbero essere... Sì, credo siano 80 punti con la win.
11 kill hanno fatto, non 6.
Allora no, sono...
Sono 60 punti perché hanno fatto 44 più 65.
Eh sì, è 65 lo stesso.
65 perché 5 la win e 5 il
Aqua and
resto.
Noah, I think, are definitely a team that is going to cause
Ah
problems.
scherzo, seconda
It's
pausa
been a weird
56
season.
punti.
We haven't had
La win sono
necessarily
9
like, you know,
punti.
these set sort of hype teams.
Ma raga, avete
I mean,
visto dove
Aqua
voi
and
non
Noah
scendere
can
il
definitely
Mongrel
be
del
that. Janice and
7?
Flixie will look up for it
Eh?
as well quite a bit, even though they
Avete
did win
visto
that
dove
first
voi
game.
non
They still
scendere
did
il
well, but
Mongrel
again,
del
just shows you how
7?
good those
Ah
guys
sì,
are.
ma ci
There'll be
sta.
a couple
Ma anche
of
Malibu che è
guys
sceso
like
lì
Yannick
prima.
who eventually get involved up there, but if
Oddio,
Magari
Reale
non
rende
sa
nello
detto.
stesso spot.
these guys can be a big
E
problem
Pink,
throughout the
scusa,
day.
non vada al
Yeah, I'm
Pink.
really intrigued as to whether they're going to do that.
Stesso
because
stesso
this
spot.
season in FNCS
No, ma quello lì è il drop,
General
quello lì è il drop.
Manager,
Probabilmente non lendono uguali. Quello lì è il punto del drop, pingato. Vedi? Dove devono aprire il coso. Probabilmente lendono al magazzino o a piazza. Che due.
Duos that of course had to go down to a solo. We saw
Ma
Candy
non-
having to
stanno
solo
nello
clutch
stesso
there as
posto.
well. Queasy, another
100.
one them.
Vedi, tutti e due l'hanno dato così? Atterrano al magazzino tutti e due. Ma per il 4 non c'è loot, quindi si devono per forza ammazzare. A vicenda. Nel gioco.
Just trying to adjust there to this these new storm surge changes that have happened as well. So that definitely had a big part to play. We saw
Bello sto glitch.
at that point.
I think the key
Pink.
thing
Oh, c'è stato andare sul tetto.
Pink c'ha la R viola. Quello lì schifoso.
Il gendarme.
Mr. Savage
Vedi che avranno il pump. Ha la pistola?
And that's how you know you're in grands. Like people don't realize
Yeah.
it's
Savage è morto. Andate.
lobby you've played all
Rollato.
season, especially
Poi c'è Mongrel
some of the
dietro.
new surge changes, right? They've not had much
C'è al
time to
pump, Mongrel.
practice some of the new surge. A lot of people struggling, but they're gonna have to really learn a
Ma
lot.
perché la live di Fortnite non sta andando?
Janice and Flixie, as predicted, Mini.
Devono ancora parlare quelli.
Surge really well. They look like
Perché
they
fanno
were
lendare tutti
so
quanti.
ready for endgame,
Vendono
but they
minimo
could
gli
only
armi.
manage that 10th position.
Oh,
Which
Mongrel ha
kind
fatto
of
uno?
aligns with the last thing I said before we
Al
threw to the
pump?
grand finals, which was top
No,
10 is
non è il
almost
pump.
guaranteed for these
Sì, ce l'ha il
two,
pump.
but
Ma no,
I
non ce
want
l'ha.
to know from
No,
you, what's
Mongrel
it
no.
going to take from this duo to go all the way? Because Mini's already
Ah,
given
però
us
Comunque
è-
chiamarsi
No, it's a great
0-0
point. I
non
think when you look at their end games in
0-0.
particular, the ones that really shine the most.
Ma credo sia uno. Oh, non è un 9. Oh, sì,
No, no,
è
è
un
0-0.
0.
They grapple up for
Ah.
height. It's
Non dovrebbe essere più
something really
schiacciato lo
confident in
0.
them. When I was watching their games, the ones that concerned me were the ones
Lo
where
0 con i
they weren't
caratteri
playing for height and they were going for
speciali,
mid-ground
come-
instead.
Ah, sì, sì, ho
And
capito,
what I
capito.
noticed was
sono
it's
messi
not
bene,
like they're
4
lost
punti.
when they're on mid-ground. It's definitely not the case. But they're not
Ah
really
no,
great
ecco
at
perché
converting
Pink
a lot
sta
of these
allenando lo
games
stesso
into like
sport,
a
perché
top
sta guardando
five,
Mr.
you know,
Savage.
top 1 to 5. A lot of
Ah,
these games
Ah,
are
no, perché.
top 10
Ah, ho
to
capito,
like,
raga, perché è un game è un
really
game.
stretch in the distance to get those extra
Che
placement
senso?
points when they're playing mid and
Probabilmente,
low. Something like that. It seems to be a problem for them, so
Sono
fanno un game e un
110
game.
games is really what I'm
Esatto.
thinking here.
I'm going to defend my boys here though. What they did do very well
Niente,
was
raga,
getting
hanno
that
trollato
storm
il
surge
game.
early, right? They put themselves in that
Probabilmente sono
position
100
to
team che giocano in due, un game e un game.
Ok,
Capito?
sì, là, sì.
The rest of these 11 games, I expect to see Janison
Sono
and
11
Flixie going for that at some
game.
point. And even we saw it from
Fanno
Jason and
5-5
Venno, one of our teams
per quello
at the beginning of the tournament. These guys, they had troubles with surge off spawn. It just
Perché
shows that if
11?
you don't
Un
get
game lo
those
fanno
attacks
tutti
early
insieme?
on, it can
Non-
cause some problems later on.
We've got 5 more games to go tonight because we're treating you to a whopping 6 games per day of the grand finals. So
Fanno
without further
3-3.
ado, let's head in.
Brutta qua per il selvaggio, eh. Fare così allo start.
Sì.
Already, FNCS is beginning to heat up. Game 1, the top team on that high ground, Noah and Aqua, got overthrown by Loki and Arian. What a fantastic
finito
showing
il
of
timer,
force
fateci
to start
vedere.
us off.
Look, you said
E
they got
date, detto
overthrown,
Giacomo, è
but those were in the
tocca da-
last moments of the
facci
match,
vedere.
Jake.
Ma Giacomo,
We talked about it
palesemente-
before, taking height from
Giacomo
first
è
zone
diventato
is
obbligato.
difficult. You're gonna have to find
Esatto, guarda.
refreshes while you're up above. You're gonna
I
have
suoi
to
occhi dicono,
try to
presidente,
risk
devi andare
yourself a
via,
little
ti
bit to
prego.
get those materials, but we'll
Guarda,
see
guarda.
who's
Ci
able
stanno,
to do in the next game as the battle bus
Due
is
o tre punti
ready.
in due
Ah no,
game.
vedi, no, sono 6 game.
Appunto.
Quindi vuol dire che
In game 1,
hanno trollato loro in generale.
a
Ah, è vero.
few of our favorites to win on day 1.
Hanno
win
trollato
the
loro in
FNCS,
generale.
go
Prima non l'ho
down
fatto.
very, very
Ciao,
early.
Nava.
Even some before placement
Benvenuto, bro.
points begin to
Hanno
set
trollato
in.
loro in
This is
generale,
12
proprio
games throughout
200.
2 days. You do
Ah, ma
not
probabilmente hai visto che
wanna
sono
fall
6
early,
game, quanto sono?
because
Qua
that's
sono
where
20 minuti a
any
game più o
team at the top
meno.
of the leaderboard will take
Sono...
advantage.
Ah, in 2 ore, per quello. Fanno un game sì, uno no praticamente.
Looking uncontested
Eddy.
as we switch over.
Perché un game guardano
Contrary,
dove lendono, un game non lo
Mongrel,
fanno.
Mr. Savage up against
Perché tanto hanno 3 ore,
Nate.
i 6 game sono
It did
2
not
ore.
go the way of
Quindi-
Mr. Savage and Mongrel in the first match, but will they be
ok.
able to come out on top
Ma
Non trollano.
Because throughout the
perché
second round
1 e
as well,
1,
the
cioè
third
se mi hanno
party just right
trollato.
across has played a role, but Savage is going to be the first one drop, leaving a lot of pressure on the Mongrel to try
Tutti
to
quanti hanno
clutch
fatto
up.
2 game, per
Lane
quello
is still
dico.
on that chase. And
Ma
there's
non
no
è 1 e
shotgun in
1.
the inventory of Mongrel either.
either. It's been 1009 days since
E perché Pink sta guardando
FNCS finals.
Perché Pink sta guardando invece di giocare?
Perché aveva fatto 2 punti per prendersi un attimo una pausa.
Non è probabile.
Cioè, non ha senso fare game tutti quanti pushando così. Ora sta mangiando, porello. Pure può mangiare pure lui.
Che cosa?
Che ne so, cibo? Tappeti? Non credo.
Rotates on over. Now Mongrel has to be careful. Lazen is here as well. They're in another 2v1 and they know what teams land here and they know exactly how this fight goes and now
Voi siamo quelli che Vittoria?
A blessing is what Mongrel
No,
needs.
Lazen è morto
Both
prima.
players, 200 effective HP and shield. Mongrel now made some footsteps, made the noise as he has found some crash pads for the disengagement, but the crash pad gets
Voi sono tre
broken.
scalini.
Mongrel as
muore con
well.
la T,
Both
però,
players
questo
now
può passare.
contesting each other. Both duos have been eliminated.
Effettivamente.
Another team that wasn't even the ones that landed just outside of Ship It Station that usually try to third
Vedi
party.
anche Loki,
They went
ne fa
somewhere
uno di
else and
game,
they're
ma
really
tipo,
trying to cause disruption and get points where they can, but King's gonna get dropped. Phaser's trying to save the day. He gets a trade onto Lunex, bringing it down to a 1v1, but no heals. Monier's gonna try to continue that pressure, so Phaser needs to figure out a way to reposition and get on the offensive.
Moni leading this fight in terms of effective HP and shield, but one big pump shot is going to be all it takes to take him out. Currently now, King and Phaser, sorry, Linux Moni, 1-1 at the drop spot.
And this is where we begin to talk about that consistency over the next 2 days, because things like this, especially when you're contested, will happen. Another one of our contested fights. Thomas just getting tagged up. Him and Queasy, they were able to come out on top in that first game, and already it's looking good in game 2 as well.
You can see how Queasy was able to finish it off, making use of that frenzy shotgun. Thomas as well making it out with a sliver
Madò, c'è
of
un pompa spam
HP,
mitico
but
questi.
now, with that Reaper sniper in hand, the 2 eliminations off the bat, they have a lot more freedom to continue their game.
Yeah, Levin said something to start the show. He said Venno was the best sniper in Fortnite, and I think a lot of people at home have been looking for the past
Best
couple years.
sniper in
This guy
Fortnite.
right here, Thomas. Now that he has that sniper, he can prove everybody wrong. They're gonna cement himself as probably one of the best snipers in Fortnite history. Especially now that they have a chance to loot up, gain their resources, any utility now that Lavish Layer is theirs.
Look, you're saying Thomas, Levin's saying Venno. I'm saying King is the best sniper, coming from the Brazilian region as well, where the players tend to use more sniper rifles than any other region. I think he might be the leader, but what we have to do is wait and see. It's 2 days of competition. 12 matches to be played out as once again the battle for the forecast tower. Kiddo Kiro up against Pink and Vico. Nobody was able to claim it in the last one, but we might see something different here.
Yeah, and you can see both of these teams really make this a part of their game plan. Instead of farming, going your split drop,
Vabbè, non è che Savage
bare minimum,
Mongrel si è
start
messo
to rotate
meglio,
on over and try to
comunque.
claim it for
4 punti
themselves
loro
first.
almeno, invece Buffer
Hero
ha fatto
Kudo.
0.
Entrato.
One having the high ground, one having a different
Opa,
angle. That's usually how they approach this fight.
Buonasera.
Pink
Buonasera.
and Vico does beat them there first, but a risky play to try to overtake the high ground. Vico's gonna steal it.
Stiamo
Push
guardando
Kido
dalle
off.
FNCS,
Now they have
signore
a
Giuda.
separate 2v1 on their low
Non
ground.
vedo, non
They just
vedo.
don't know exactly where Kiro's at.
Cosa?
Tell how much these duos want to show their dominance
Ma come
in
sta
this early
facendo?
game, and Kiddo now
Buffer l'ha preso,
shot
proprio
23
potente.
times with
L'FNCS,
25
ma ha trovato 2 game su 2.
get cracked yet, still has shield. Now the crack comes through
Okay.
the
Ancora
Ha
0
preso
punti.
molto bene.
for Pink and
Non lo
Vico.
so,
The
non lo so.
2v1, will they
Ancora
continue
0
the
punti.
pressure?
Ah, bello.
Definitely have the
Vabbè,
chance
Mr.
there,
Savage e Mongrel ne hanno 4, quindi...
now that they're going to be able
Sì,
to
ma
kind
che
of claim
stanno-
this all to
che
themselves.
sta
It hasn't
Mongrel?
spawned in just
Eh,
yet,
no,
so in
Game?
theory,
Game?
if they don't
Secondo.
chase
È il
it
secondo
away, they
game.
could grab that reboot card and try to
Vabbè,
have a
sì,
second
sta.
chance at this, but with no
Sì, ma i primi hanno
resources,
190
no
punti.
real possibility
Primi
to
hanno
do this.
109.
I do believe Pink and Vico
E
might
chi
be
sono
able
i
to
primi?
claim this for
boh,
themselves
due
unless
tipi.
any other team
Sono-
goes
come
in
si chiamano
that
quelli?
direction.
Loki e...
Diox, Cade, we saw them get
No,
into
perché
the
non mi
final
ricordo.
3 of that last game, and already it's looking great to start
Sì, vabbè,
this off in
ma
game 2.
è ancora aperto. Cioè,
Full-on
quanti...
squad
non
wide
è
open.
non è
Guarda
detto.
quanti punti
Direi
hanno.
senza i game.
Confidence and momentum here.
Ma io ho entrato.
Sai che Predage l'ha appena preso, eh?
We talked about Mongrel.
Bello, lo prendono tutti in
Eccolo
questo
qua,
The
Loki.
FNCS finals was
Loki e
1,209
Sha.
days ago. But for
Hanno vinto
Iron
loro.
Buffo, it was actually
Sì, ma comunque hanno 50
1286.
punti,
It's been longer than when
Top
Mongrel
10,
last
46
competed
punti.
in FNCS
Vabbè, sì,
finals.
ma ci
You
sono
can
altri
see how
4
many
game,
veterans
devo
Oh!
vedere come
are
stanno.
here
Blues e
today,
Cabix
still
sesti.
Quelli domani sei.
competing at a top
Blues e
level.
Cabix sesti e Darky e
Our game
Darkids
one victors,
quarti.
Aryan
Ma
and
domani pure c'è,
Loki,
giusto?
Sì, domani sera.
can they hold their momentum?
4 italiani in
They
top
have,
10.
they brought the momentum into
Chi
the
sono?
FNCS, 'cause
E
that's a
Gabix e Belusi
back-to-back
e
games now
Darky
that
e
they have
Darkids.
won on the FNCS stage. This goes back to the game 3 of the semis
Ma non trovo
in
gli
the
altri, chi è
lower
che erano gli
bracket,
altri?
where they won that game to
Quel
push
Buffo e
themselves into
Preda,
that top
chi erano?
15
Ah,
just to
Rickborn.
make it
Speriamo
to
che
this
gli
stage. So
italiani,
we
cioè,
talked about so many
qualcuno,
teams being
Belusi
on
fa
fire,
qualcosa di
having the
buono.
limelight. Well, that's a team
Ah,
that deserves
ma
it with how
LOL?
well they've been playing.
Ma,
Hank and Vico,
ma Eddie,
we go back to the brawl now.
ma 4 punti sono top
As
30.
it looks like
Sì.
they will be
Ma vedi
closer and
che...
Quelli che hanno,
closer
quelli che hanno 0
securing
punti
this
sono ai top
forecast
50.
tower, but
Prendono
third
soldi
parties
per
are
ora.
coming through. It's Yanis
sì,
and
so.
Flixie.
Sì, vabbè, 1000 euro
That
prendono.
screams danger.
Buttali via.
We know
Buttali via 1000 euro.
Mister Savage non sto giocando.
Sì, ma fanno puntare sta felici qua. I primi prendono 100 punti.
Tyson è 23esimo.
L'altra volta hanno preso 4 milioni, Cooper e Mero.
Baffo, 45, ma...
Cioè, praticamente 2000 devono,
Sai
quella
cosa?
possono
Era
anche...
l'invitation, quelli lì ci stanno che mettono più roba.
Sì, ma...
Ma Savage, guarda, chi ce ne sta?
Tipo 30esimi, hanno 4 punti. Vediamo. Research player, dentro posso
One of
farlo.
the most important parts
A me si chiamano 00,
finals
ma non posso cercarli perché
Sì,
sono...
sono 35esimi.
have a general idea
0... O 08
Ma si chiamano Mongrel Mr. Savage, non si chiamano...
No, no, hanno cambiato nome.
forecast towers.
008,
Ma
039.
nel tracker si chiamano ancora Mongrel Mr.
And if
Savage.
you're looking in the
A me
feed
c'è
and you see the
scritto...
two duos that
Quello
are
oggi è
going
partito,
head to head,
vediamo.
35.
Una kill 40...
each team
Ah,
gets
hanno
knocked
fatto
down,
schifo.
you know now.
Cioè,
Sì, sì,
prima...
Those
due
battling
game
it
hanno
out,
buttato
you can
anche Buff
capitalize
e...
on that situation.
Primo
I'm
game
sure
0 kill 49esimi, secondo game
Giannis
1
kinda
kill
saw
46esimi.
that Pink and
Facebook.
Vico took
Sì,
out
uguale.
the
Sì, ma
other.
anche-
Anche...
Guarda
Vabbè.
Mister Savage
They knew it was still a
cranca...
duo, so it wasn't enough to
Vediamo Baffo. Ah, beh, bello. Baffo
For
6,
Noah
3
though.
minuti in vita alla prima e 6 la seconda.
So
Sì, sì,
high
l'altro lato. Tutte e due volte a colonne, se non
I
terrore.
primi che hanno fatto.
even though they didn't win the
Prima
match,
partita 11
it's a
kill
game of
win.
consistency,
Sì,
being 2
109
days
punti.
of competition.
Con Agua!
They know
Con
they're more
Agua
than happy
secondo.
with that way to start it off.
Ah,
Oh, Kaid terza.
Oh, per una volta possiamo vedere i Mongrel sotto
What's
acqua.
the mental toughness, right? You can be
Acqua
happy that you
omni.
got that top 3, you're in
Eccola.
third place, but it's all about
Non
Belusi
posso dire
sesto,
che vuole un
minchia.
closure to realize that
E
opportunity
anche
is
Darky
in
Darky.
your
Lo
hands.
guardi.
And instead of being first place on the leaderboard, you are positioned in
Darky
third,
Darky.
but we'll figure out how they can
Si chiamano così, ma
continue
non
to
li
compose
ho
themselves
mai
as we
visti
jump
giocare.
on board.
Scusa, ma Mongrel e Mari Mister Savage non
From
stanno
Grand
giocando
Glacier,
insieme.
you see them rotating
Mongrel,
around,
eh?
using a lot of those static launch pads for mobility.
Mongrel?
That allows them the
Mongrel e Mister
elevation
Savage non
to
stanno
figure out
giocando
where a
insieme.
lot of these
Ma
teams
stanno facendo
are
delle
positioned
di una
at
casa
as
per
well. And from
scaldarsi.
what we
Cioè,
saw
perché
last
devo
game,
allenarsi.
Surge is going to be a problem for them. It
Ma
happens
per
in
forza
game
devono
one.
giocare
With
insieme.
nobody nearby here in game 2, you got to imagine it's going to be the same
Guarda che
thing.
sì, mi tengo di
Io la chiamano...
Here you can see a few duos in the surrounding area
Scambage,
taking
qualcosa del
shots
genere.
at each other. Cami Seti,
Perché ha fatto
Aqua
uno
Noah,
quello lì che $1000 che
even
vince.
another duo up north here.
Non gli ho dati.
You can see though, in terms of materials,
E non
they
gli ho
did a
dati.
great job.
No, in
Almost
pratica ho detto
full
media
up
dei
on metal.
5, no? Quindi
Have some of their bases built
fa tre.
already. As Zone has pulled closer.
Poi ha
Snipe
fatto
shot.
primo che arriva a
Unable
5,
to
poi ha
connect
fatto
from
primo
Cami.
che arriva
Only
a 6.
7 more in the chamber.
Mhm.
And with so much of the match left, you do not
Quindi la
want to
gente
waste those
deve fare la
shots.
scambage.
I was wondering, he left the med kit
Raga,
up there, and I
arriviamo
was
i
like,
cinesi a
what
casa.
is Cammy and Seti having their
11
well, they
primi,
have
veramente.
a ton of different heals
Comunque,
scattered
dalla
around
top 2 alla
their
top 3 non
drop
cambia niente, sono 4
spots,
punti di
primo?
top.
saving it for later.
Chi sono
Weapon caches
primi?
are starting to appear for a lot of those teams.
Loki e Arian.
Shared one with Noah
Arian.
and Aqua, with Noah and Aqua being the ones to collect that and
Chiamati.
all that
Gioca
loot.
Mister
And
Savage, no?
look
Più
at the
dove vai?
materials right
Mister
now. It
Savage.
isn't necessarily too
Okay,
bad for
scusami.
Reveal and Reason, but they definitely still have more work
Aia.
to do and where they're going to get the medal.
Aia,
is gonna
come?
be the question.
Cos'era?
Mister Savage.
Cos'era?
Ah, ma
That is a
Cosa?
difficult
Ho sentito un rumore stranissimo.
resource, the most scarce one
ero io forse.
on the
Tipo
map.
uno che
Usually these
urlava.
players
Ciao,
will
ti
have
sei
routes for
spaccato.
everything, for storm surge,
No, non ero io
or
allora.
right off the drop
Oh,
spot,
Agua!
how to maximize efficiency to get as much loot as
Don't.
possible, but also be put in an
Ragazzi,
advantageous
mi faccio una
position
partita
against your
pro.
opponents if
Devo
you're
andare a
competitive,
prendere
il
even
telefono.
were to farm up that that metal, as it's so
Dai
crucial
Riccardo, vieni che te arrivo.
later in the match.
I believe
We've also seen a lot of
Milano.
bushes being put to good use, especially if
Cos'è
you
che
have a
vuoi?
sniper rifle like Flixie does have in hand. can see almost like Cammy and Seti here with the
Raga, mi si è buggato
they
Discord.
have, like squirrels
Non è possibile.
hiding all their nuts, all their
Cosa?
precious items
Mi si è buggato Discord.
around
A
their
me pure
drop
prima si
spot.
era bloccato, però poi
That's
si
all
è
it
bloccato il
takes
mostro
is
del
one
problema.
quick
No, non si è
sniper
bloccato, che non
shot.
posso
I'm
cambiare il
wondering here,
vocale. Aspetta.
I mean, the wood structures are kind of on purpose as it's
Mi è
gonna
imploso
block
tutto.
those shots from opponents taking blind shots into the
Continuo a
builds.
sentire la condivisione di
open
schermo
up opportunities for you
di
to
Eddy, ma
peek.
non vedo niente.
And you can see though, I like the way you said. I
Dai,
feel
ho
like
morto
we're two peas in a
tutto
pod
nel
sometimes.
gioco.
Because I'm looking at those
Veramente.
builds. You see some of them are kind of edited down just
No,
a
non è
little bit to
possibile.
Ma dici che
minimize
Mazinga
the
in
amount
cosa
of coverage that they won't be able to kind of shoot shots from while still being
Perché mi
able
fa
to
entrare su
protect
Discord?
themselves outside of the box. I haven't
Io mi sa
seen
che
it
arrivo il
too
pistol al
much
volo.
from
Arrivo.
players that are camping in a lot of these bushes. See if the trend does continue, because that's usually what happens. A lot of the tricks are saved for moments like this, and then everybody immediately starts to adapt, steal strategies, use whatever they can get their hands on.
Once again, you can see Vaniax and Ed, they have their planned route. They always make up kind of a tower on one of the mountains
Secondo voi chi
around
vince
their
meglio
drop spots,
le
specifically
FNCS?
in areas
Chi
where
vince?
they believe their opponents will
Trovo
rotate
forte.
through, but the opponents learn this as time goes on, and they know this is going to be a dual position
Velu-
around that area,
Secondo
taking
me
shots
top
at them,
10
so
ci
they won't
arriva
try and use
sicuro.
natural
Non voglio sparare.
the
Velusi,
environment
Velusi e
to kind of
Gabi.
take cover from
Top
that
10 ci
and
arriva sicuro.
Quello sì.
use a bit more builds. Pixie though, look at
10
this,
top
5
15.
medkits, Jacob. So early on, you can wonder what they're gonna want to do in the late game.
Ma a vincerla non penso
Ready
proprio.
for
Prima
this
Gabe non ha
meta.
fatto schifo.
It does come down to a heal-off scenario. He has
La
about 2
Malibuga
games
che
worth at this
posizione
stage.
sta?
Malibu non lo
Fox
so.
and Pixie just kind of looking
Gix
around.
Malibu
They
t'ha
do have
preso
that
a metà
snooty
game.
steps, hammer pump. So you gotta imagine they have a
Malibuga,
medallion along
Malibuga.
with them as well.
11esimo.
Solo che
4 or 5 teams on the outskirts out of zone, a couple
No,
more
però
just
sei ancora in
inside
vita,
the
è
zone
ancora
as
in
well.
vita
So they're
in
gonna
questo
make the
momento.
rotation early so they don't get
Ha
stuck
fatto solo la prima
in a lot of the
partita.
chaos that's down there.
Ha
Pick and
fatto
Vico
2 kill
plans in
top
with
10.
Venom-Tason, slowly but surely once
A 40
again
punti
creeping up
Malibuga.
on their spot. You can see what both of these teams are fighting for right there on the ground, which was claimed by Veno and Tayson, which was yet another weapons cache.
The altercation from the forecast tower third party to now the combat cache, as both teams
Arrivo ragazzi.
could always use a bit more damage. Rift Island has even appeared close by, so they have different options to go towards. Question is, what's on their mind? Storm Surge now appears. They're gonna see exactly how comfortable or stressful the situation is, depending on how much damage they might need. But this time around at the Rift Island, instead of 3 duos contesting it at the same time, there's only one. Clown, Girls, and they've even secured the flag already. Quite free for this duo.
You see him choosing the loot, switching out the shotgun. Do I want the frenzy? What are you taking in a situation like this? Purple frenzy,
Però raga
gold hammer pump.
Look, I'm a
He
hammer
doesn't know.
type of
Raga,
person,
Mr.
but
Savage fa
you can see, yeah, I
1100
mean,
fps.
Ma raga, è incredibile, oh, non è
stack
possibile.
of medkits.
Dovevo entrare cioè da Google su Discord, se no non potevo entrare.
As 0 elims on the board, you know
Non mi
they're gonna
coprire
need
Discord.
damage. 38 duos, 74 players.
Ah,
I mean,
perché
there
non
are
mi
a
fa
lot of
comprare.
teams being contested right off the start, so it's not as stacked
Una cosa...
in these initial zones as
Però-
we've seen previously.
Vai,
There's not
adesso
many
dimmi
people
la
getting
top 3, la tua
contested.
top 3, dimmi
At
la
the
top
same
3
time,
di domani.
Once
Veloce.
those initial
Domani?
investments finish
Di
off,
domani top 3,
not a lot of
veloce.
teams
E mi
end
dici
up
pure
Allora-
eliminated
la
after.
top 3 di oggi, vai, veloce adesso, vediamo
Top 3 di oggi, acqua
You see
Omni.
Pablo Bevi's just
Poi io
outside.
nella speranza ci piazzo Belusi
Really
e
susceptible
Gabix.
to a snipe from Luke.
Super.
Aspetta, ma
If they
acqua
do
primo,
wanna look
quindi.
in that direction, you can see spotting out where players are
sì.
positioned at, and they're like
Poi
right in the
Belusi
middle.
secondo,
They can
poi terzo
rotate
chi?
back towards Rift Island, try to grab one of those rifts that are around. They can rotate to zone,
Bison,
try to
è
beat
vero.
everybody there. The choice is definitely theirs.
Comunque
For
è
Pablo
bello che
Bevis, this is
c'è,
definitely
stanno
a
sia
great position
l'FNCS
to be in,
e
to have so much
Mr.
control over your
Services lo
destiny
sta
at this
mettendo
stage
in
in the game.
gola a uno in pubblica.
Let's take a look at
Cioè,
the awards. Pixie,
su 1v1,
what they were able
bello.
to do. Quick crash
Dovrei
attack.
andare a coprire, ma va bene.
Bello,
Box,
bello.
taking him down. Volko. Now, was he able to escape? Was he not? Either way, that's a huge elim.
And those are the plays I love to see with the crash pad. Hides all the audio. You can sneak up on a player just like that. Even when they're rotating with each other, that little bit of separation is all it takes to find just a little nifty elimination like that. Han and Vasquez. Center zone is what it looks like high up on the mountain. 110, nice
Eddie.
snipe shot. even threading some assault
Eddie.
rifles
Eddie
shot
è andato
through
per
to get even
qualcosa.
more damage
Ah,
for
okay.
their storm surge. Positioned well. Veno though fighting from the low ground against Pablo and Bevies, who we've literally seen moments ago. And I kind of asked this question to start the
Bello.
game: what is their plan for surge? They are going to be below, but with a snipe like that, that's definitely going to help Veno and Tayson get above the damage threshold.
We were talking about it. Veno has been hitting some insane shots these days. Can he keep it up in the grand finals when the pressure is on? That one sniper shot put him above. As now Bevies. Uh-oh, be careful, Bevies. You've got him stuck. 34 now, cracked, no shield to work with. Veno gets the knock. Pablo is taken out. Bevies is low on HP.
Qua quanti punti ha?
But this is huge for Tayson and Veno.
Yep, Steven snipes the body, max damage, just trying to get as much as they can when it comes to Surge. Bevy nearby, but Bevy's time is ticking. He doesn't have any HP. He's
Raga?
on Surge.
Raga, allora, tanto adesso vado a mangiare, dopo torno.
Mangiare.
Vedo se... Spero che mi funzioni dopo. Cioè, non si apre. Vabbè, vado a mangiare e torno tra poco.
And it's not gonna happen. He goes down. Veno, Tayson strike again.
Che hai vinto? Hai finito il game?
No,
non ancora.
Sono 35 coppie.
From Veno and Tayson.
Ok, vado a mangiare.
They heard that elimination. They could scavenge the rest of the loot. They're just on the edge here. They're not even too far from making it in, so you can see they're healing up, getting healthy before rotating back in. Aqua Noah, though, currently only 4 below the threshold, forced to pop those floppers, to pop that Flowberry Fizz, as just one shot is what they need. They have that smart pistol. It locks onto your opponents, but for that, they need to peek.
So you just need somebody to peek, and that was the opportunity, but aims just a little too late. Doesn't get the time.
Ma lo stiamo solo dipende anche se non sei safe.
Noah's trying to lead the way, but even he's a short distance away
No,
from his
capito.
opponents. Finally, Aqua's gonna land a couple shots with that smart pistol, get him ahead
Lo
of
storm
the
surge
threshold,
ti
but
colpisce
Noah
anche se non
goes
sei in
down to
safe.
reason,
Cioè, anche se
trying
sei
to
in
play
safe.
desperation to get some storm surge, and it cost him everything.
Ma non adesso, cioè nel senso tipo nel game quando sei tipo se non sbaglio 15esima safe.
Finishing off his second match of the day.
No, raga, no.
C'era uno che si chiamava Bring Back Siphon.
No, raga, sono su un pirla.
Cosa hai fatto?
I feel bad for him because not even I saw
E ho
it
detto
coming. I got the
mentre che
minimap
mi
to help
stessa
me out.
si riscalda vado a
He thought
farmi
he
una
was so
ranked
safe trying to make his way in, but
e ho
failed
startato una
reason
solo
strike.
squad
That's gonna be their
ranked.
second elimination of the game so far. Over 300 damage
Abbandona.
above the threshold. Still got some more
No,
distance
sì,
covered.
si abbandona.
Crash pads are for.
Cioè è lì tipo a 2% sarà.
Close to the right now. They've
No,
boxed
è
up
zero
under
build.
the train tracks.
Vabbè,
Do
allora
have the movement to do so, as they don't
Dai,
need that
nel
elevated
senso.
position for the damage.
Perché è una minchia
Adesso voglio vedere arrivare una solo V-squad in zero build, vai
Time
tranquillo.
Tayson were taking down Pablo. Seda was able to take down the Buell, but gets beamed in the back by Swidgy and Pootrick. No HP to regain, so he cannot stay in the zone for too much longer. And now they're positioned against two hungry players, Zico
Amo.
and Pink. Not the best placing in
Ti fai
game
da
one,
spect
but
in
at least
live?
they were able to pull out a 16th place.
I believe they have the forecast tower this match,
Un attimo.
so they do know where these next zones are pulling. You can see
Tu
how
non stai
well they've
capendo,
already
io sto
positioned
sudando per
themselves
questa
in this
partita.
7th zone.
Suda. You know.
And their duos, or not the duos,
Dopo
but
che
their
finisco la
opponents in
partita vengo
areas might
molto
be wondering,
volentieri
you know,
in
do
live.
they know something that we don't? Should we be following them as they continue to rotate? Good amount of materials, decent amount of shield. As we look back over, Thomas HD, now look Jacob, Thomas HD, 14 top 10s, 10 top 5s, 7 top 3s in FNCS finals, but yet to take one home, yet to lift up that trophy. And now with 5 elims on the board, could this be the tournament?
Yeah, I kind of made a bold call, with, probably along with everybody else in Fortnite, thinking this could be the Thomas HD season. He has yet to win one, but he has also come so close so many times. It's almost painful at this point, no matter how well you're performing. If you ain't first, I don't want it. That's probably what Thomas is thinking now at this stage
You know
of the
how
game.
much he wants it. You know.
Especially with global championship spots up for grabs
Mi
after this
scherzavo,
weekend.
giocano.
They could be the first ones to claim it as their own.
That is the question. That is the question. With so many titans, so many legends from Fortnite competitive competing here today, it's harder than ever to take a spot at Globals. I drop Nebs though. 368 above. They're feeling quite healthy here as Art Skill is going to be able to pick one up. Storm Surge active now though. The lobby is going to get electric.
And one thing about iDrop and Nebs, we really know what they're capable of. They can pop off at the biggest moments. Sometimes when things don't go their way, it's hard for them to kind of get back on track. But like you said, 368 damage above the threshold. Very little for them to do. It's just kind of biding their time, waiting the next couple of seconds for Zone to move forward before they figure out where their rotation is going to come from. And already you're seeing them lining up a crash pad play, even though they do have some grapple blades.
Waiting for the perfect moment. They hear their shots. They know that Storm Surge is active, and it's going to cause the aggression from the players that are below. For Hen and Ski, though, already one Elam on the board. Grapple blading ahead of Zone. Will they build up, though? They have an opportunity for elevation. Are they going to take it? It looks like Ski's already boxed up. Almost full low here. A whole duo on top of him as he's forced to wait for the regroup.
Yeah, they went on the right side of the zone where it opened up, giving them more space to work with. As they're above damage on threshold, you see a lot of teams around them may not necessarily be as safe as they are. Get an early peek at high ground. Swizzy Putrick might be too soon to tell if they can hold on to it. At least that's the way the trend has been going all FNCS long, even from the open qualifiers to the semifinals into this stage here that we saw in game one. You hold on to it too soon, a team will more than likely at least try to battle you for it.
I mean, it worked out for Aqua and Noah in game one. Got them all the way to second place before they had to take that engagement. Issue was for Aqua and Noah, all they had was one flopper, no medkits. And on the contrary, I believe I did see 3 medkits in one of the inventories up there in the clouds. So hopefully they can hold on as all the leaders materials. And now, 9th zone, first moving, commencing.
Yeah, majority of the lobby having a far pull. Flixie taking some shots, but not anything to get scared about. Vico Pink, they have different plans in mind, trying to get to the box. Art Skill stuck by himself, unable to really land the damage for the elimination. But I love the aggression coming out of Vico and Pink when they need it most. They cannot run out of material. Video Reason in a similar spot.
Francesco, ciao Francesco.
And time to pop the medkits. It's the shields that they're lacking though.
Does Resin have a Flowberry Fizz? I see him take it out now. It's gonna be enough to recuperate a bit of shield, even give them that boost to continue rotating through. They're above, they're getting healthier. They have a couple eliminations and a good amount of materials. You can see now as the tarps continue, so does the pressure. Queasy knocked down. It's all up to Thomas now.
He snatched that medallion at the last second, and on the receiving end of the Mythic Frenzy, all but just a sliver of HP, but he gets forced back to the zone. That's where Thomas is going to get credit for that knock, and you see him going back, trying to get maxed up on loot as well. He's definitely cementing himself to have a big game here as a solo.
3 medkits for Thomas HD, full materials.
Vincenzo.
This is what he needs to continue forwards. He can even play the heal off if he's able to make it far enough. 17 duos are up, 30 players.
Multiple medallions as well. The list of things that are going right for Thomas, other than him being a solo, is there. Nebs and iDrop trying to break to the back of the zone, the back of the box. They get confused momentarily as iDrop takes a huge amount of damage trying to make his way in. This is where they're going to stagger themselves. Flowberry Fizz and say hop their way to the front side of the zone.
Still on high ground. I believe it's Swizzy Putrick. They've been maintaining it, but iDrop Nebs, their second height, as the pressure from above is gonna be raining down shortly. The zone pulling over water.
Eddy,
dimmi.
Ma che posizione sta Acqua?
Non l'ho visto, non lo so. Non c'ha quella classifica.
Vediamo a fine partita, fine game, vediamo. Minchia.
Just 15 HP, and it's gonna be the one shot to take him out. Vico now left as a solo as well.
Vico preso da Thomas, ma sta messo bene.
He's still going.
This is a solo that everybody knows that can put up some big points. 6 eliminations by himself, 8 as a team. A 9's gonna be
se gli entrano nel box mi sa che ci muoiono.
Swizzy towards the outside as well. There's where all Thomas's loot is gonna go to the right side as he gets pressure from the high ground.
Winnable for Thomas HD. He has 3 medkits. He can play the heal off. All he needs to do is stay up until that last zone. With 8 or 7 eliminations to his lane, he is on fire.
Yeah, everybody here is solos but one team, and it might be the high ground team. This could be a great chance for Thomas to win this game. Taking a tick in the zone, that's going to allow him to start the heal off just a second earlier as iDrop's trying to creep around below. Thomas spots him out, makes him run into the next box. This is where everybody's getting closer and closer together, running out of time here at the end.
Huge for Thomas HD. That's it, but he gets dropped. He gets eliminated. The med kits go to iDrop. It's now 2 duos up, 2 versus 1. Will iDrop have the space to pop the med kit? Yanis, Flixie taking shots, taking the elimination, and getting the VR for game 2.
No med kits, no heals, no problem for Yanis and Flixie. And they even saw that person trying to heal off. Thunder bursting straight into the box to cancel the med kit and steal the game away. Yanis and Flixie are looking like the Titans on top of the mountain now.
They were dominating in this
Chi ha
recent
visto?
match.
Chi ha
I'm
vinto?
not sure
Non ho visto.
exactly when they were able to overthrow high ground, but there
Thomas,
were
mi
so
sa.
many solos down below.
Thomas.
Mi sa che ha vinto Thomas.
That chemistry,
No,
having
Vincenzo
both
ci sono.
players up was enough
È quello che
to
ci
give
sono.
them that
È quello che
advantage
ci
to
sono.
secure the win.
Just looking Flixie, just looking smooth.
Sta già salutato Francesco, ha già salutato.
Collected backside of the zone.
Vuoi
And this is where
play?
they knew it was all
No, Thomas è
over
morto.
for iDrop. Had him
Ha
trapped.
vinto.
As soon as they saw the
bello.
audio visuals, the
Ha
mid
fatto un
kick
bel-
going
fatto un
off,
buon-
they beamed into the box to take him down.
Stava
That's a
vinto
huge
Thomas. Ah no, ha
win to
vinto
start
Flix
off
e
game
Gian.
2 for Yanis and
Vabbè.
Flixie. They were unable
Quello lì.
to secure the first VR, but now you
Quindi.
know they're feeling happier and more motivated than ever. But this is just the beginning, Jacob. They have a long ways to go.
Yep, and this is where everybody
Devo
else
ancora
in the lobby
aggiornare.
has a chance to pick up some points. There's still 4 games left on the day, but let's throw on over to Frankie, 11, and Minnie to let us know what the leaderboard is looking like after 2.
Thank you very much, guys. It's going to be really interesting to watch day 1 of the grand finals because we're still seeing teams having to adjust to finding those surge tags, but also just getting the measure of the lobby. But Janice and Flixie,
devo andare a
Mini
mangiare.
Minor, have clearly
Mi sa.
started running before the rest have really
Ci sono Vincenzo, ci sono Vincenzo, ci sono.
Vincenzo, ci sono.
A mezz'ora questa chiamata. Sto capendo.
Ma non è che tieni il microfono disattivato.
Prova a controllare.
Aspetta un secondo. Accendo.
Io ho mutato
Cioè, ragazzi, siamo. Cioè, vi rendete conto siamo in partita su Go, siamo in
Vai, parla.
To capitalize. And if there's one of the teams that we talk about as being a high ground team to look out for, if it isn't Hacker or Noah, it's Janice and Flixie.
Absolutely. I mean, these
Eddie.
guys, they're so confident this season, and things really are working for them. I think there's a reason why they've come into the tournament considered a favorite by most people. There just aren't really any holes
Ti senti
in the game
bassissimo.
a lot of the time, and even when
Molto,
Fermo un
molto
secondo.
basso.
Seriamente?
Mi senti
working with the most materials here by any
Sì, sì.
means, right?
Bassissimo proprio.
Making things
No, non ho sentito proprio niente, te lo giuro. Cioè, ho sentito proprio minimamente. È bassissimo. Ok, mo si sente bene.
I actually asked him before Grands. I said, Flixie, do you think you guys have any weaknesses?
Mo si sente, a posto.
From winning Grands, he says,
Madonna,
no
fa che boss.
weaknesses at all. We're winning.
10.
And that's the kind of confidence you're
Tre
going to need
partite
to have
tutte.
if you're going to have any success in this kind of competition. So,
Veloci.
really impressive game for them. And like I was saying last game, Frankie, right? If we're going to see them get these sort of top 5s wins,
io
even,
facendo.
it's going to have to be, from high ground positions, and that's what we saw here today.
So do you think, well, I'm guessing you know Levin, hence why I'm asking you.
No,
Is Janice
350,
calling all the shots
vero.
given that he has won grand finals before?
Aia.
Yes.
Thomas,
You last
terzo.
time to see Janice Lee, but Flixie has ability as well. Like he's done that before. So I
Veloci,
think,
no,
the
no.
fact that both players are comfortable in decisions that are being made always helps.
Yeah, and that's definitely something for other viewers to take note of. It's so important to understand
Quattro.
what your role is in the game.
Cioè,
And
fra,
before
hanno
we
fatto
go
una
to
kill.
the leaderboard, so let's
Chi?
check out
Non
the
Savage,
situation
Mr.
of
Savage.
game number 2.
Ma mi è sempre 44esimo, non cambia niente.
Actually, about the
Baffo,
duo
49esimo.
right now. iDrop and Nebs.
Dove si mancano a boh, ma fino a che ora dura? Tanto, molto.
3 ore.
No.
Fino alle 10:30.
Comes off for them, a mini minor.
Yeah, it seems
Ah,
to
ciao,
be
Francesco.
bad throughout their style
Ciao,
of
Francesco.
gameplay. We've spoken about this duo
Sì,
a
3
lot,
ore,
about
7,
their
9, 10,
lack of
yeah.
consistency when it comes to these tournaments, and of course, not even just across the tournament, of course, across different events as well, Evan. That seems to be a problem for them, but it
Sempre
seems like,
senza
second
land.
place those guys right there seems to be a little bit
Sta
starting
sempre
to click a
senza
little more
land
for those
hanno
guys,
loro.
playing more mid-ground layers in that particular game. as we saw from those guys. So maybe that could be the key to their consistency.
Yeah, and I like that for them. Like that's sort of a style that I think is definitely effective for them. It plays to sort of their strengths, and I think it'll be, you know, effective for them moving forward as well. I think iDrop and Nebs are definitely a team that, you know, people look at and go, they could very well be good, but you also look at them sometimes, you go,
Ma Zinga in lobby. Magari non so.
Also, talking of rhythm, it's just made me think of our boy Thomas HD, the Danish hero, because he was absolutely on fire. You know, Queasy got some solid early eliminations, but once Thomas was left alone, once Thomas swapped that sniper for the meds, we thought he was going to win the heal off, and unfortunately it wasn't to be 11.
Still, the clutch was really impressive, Frankie. I mean, this guy is performance, right? In the semi-finals, Thomas led the way in terms of damage dealt and the ratio of damage dealt to damage taken, right? This guy is a tank. He you know, he's eating up not much damage, but he's outputting a very, very high amount, and we saw that on display here in this game. Nobody's safe in the same game. I mean, people are running about, they're just getting shot from everywhere, and you're almost thinking, where's it coming from? It's Thomas HD. He's always lurking in the shadows. And I mean, look, solo clutch performances are always huge, not just for Rhythm Mini, right? But keeping your tournament alive.
Yeah, exactly. Giving your team a little bit of a boost of confidence, especially for Thomas right now. He's more comfortable, I feel like, when he's in these solo clutch situations. He seems to be more calm when he's in that position because
non so vedendo. Magari veramente sta inguaiato, cioè. Ti sai che stai combinando. Ah, ma non lo vinceranno mai Mr. Savage e Mongrel. Cioè, Mongrel si dà una svegliata. Morti. Morti. Mamma mia, lo sto facendo sboccare.
They're not guaranteed to play 12 out of 12 games, so you have to make these kind of games count. Otherwise, you know, you're gonna be looking back on this FNCS going, it was almost a win we wanted, but not quite. So hopefully we can see them keep up those performances.
Well, we're nearly at the halfway point of day one, boys. So I'm hoping now that those duos we're expecting big things from have managed to ease into the competition, and we're going to see even more duos make it to that end game, because they're going to need a buddy with them when the fighting gets to its end point. So let's head back to our castle and take a PR for game number 3.
Non mi pare normale.
11 said it best. Nobody.
Cioè, appena sono atterrati già.
From Mongrel and Savage contested off the start. Yanis and Flixi annihilating the players from above, and even Aqua and Noah in the first match, holding height throughout the whole late game. Nobody's safe, Jacob.
Yeah, nobody's safe at all, but let me give a huge congratulations to Flixi one time. That was his first VR in an FNCS finals lobby, and there was a lot of questions going around. We know what Yanis is capable of, but can Flixi keep up when the pressure is on? And let me tell you, he kept up, and he kept up big. But now if that momentum can carry over to the next 4 games, we will be on the lookout for Yanis and Flixi lead to kind of end the day. But there's still a lot of teams that have to push themselves over the limit to catch up on the leaderboard before it's too late. Game 3 starts now, and it's the last game before the half.
Un po' Mongrel, c'è più spettatori di
Fortnite. 1-1 for King and Phaser. Mongrel and Savage keep getting third-partied. What are going to be the changes, Jacob, that these players make to put the odds in their favor as Pink, Vico, Kido Kiro, the battle for the forecast tower turned into a 50-50 off the start. Weapon goes to Kiro and Kido, and looks like they are gonna take the 2 elims.
Well, that's one way to take control of the forecast tower instead of waiting, and that's what I was talking about. The camping, getting there first is important, but the fights all around the map are just starting so quickly. Thomas goes down after a miraculous performance as a solo. It's gonna be all up to Queasy here by himself, but he definitely does have the hammer pump and the striker. If he can solidify one of these fights into a 1v1, he will have a huge chance to clutch up.
From the solo rampage that Thomas had in the previous late game to now getting elimed off the start, leaving it up to Queasy. Is Queasy gonna be able to bring them back from this early game?
Non lo vedo molto interessato, sinceramente.
In a good place at all. Being a 1 versus 2, being forced to let his opponents heal up, loot up. He's really gonna have to do something special to get out of this.
Even though they know he has to go back for the reboot card onto Thomas, it's almost like he doesn't have a chance to loot it up just yet. He has to kind of build himself up before he kind of makes that chance to go back on over towards Lavish Layer. But for now, it's Noms and Cringe who are going to be able to claim it as their own. And what they're doing here is they're making sure Queasy isn't anywhere in sight, not too much around, so that way they can go for that NPC uncontested.
You can see how quickly he disengaged, but we'll take a look. Fencing fields as well, highly contested. Three duos landing here. Throughout most of the matches, though, it has seemed that Malabuka and Murstache are the duo that secures the medallion, that secures that mythic loot, and eventually the vault. Will that trend continue? Will their opponents get a bit more aggressive?
Forse per vincere Mr. Savage deve giocare 4 partite e fare 100 punti a partita.
Yeah, just consistency
100
overall.
punti a partita
Kind of destroying the playing field, even if they aren't picking up a ton of eliminations. But that's the thing, even though they're not getting the fencing field loot, they're still able to do wonders with their game plan. Just got to imagine what happens when one of these teams falls way below the points that they kind of gather in some of these games. As he not only gets the mythic loot, he finds the gold one as well. Savage by himself. I believe Mongrel was dropped off earlier on in this same game as Nate and Lane are just taking over the ship at station.
Mongrel Savage put into panic as they got to figure out what can
they do
in the 2 versus 2 off the start. There's so many players in the surrounding area. The duo's waiting for that to happen so they can
Mr. Savage è morto nella seconda
There's
partita.
almost no way to get out of that situation.
Seconda aveva già
To
morto.
finish the engagement almost instantly. Oh,
Molto
but be
lento.
careful. If you saw what I saw,
So.
Jacob, I think I saw a little
Ma
Queasy there crouched up behind the register waiting to take someone's order.
Come sono messi?
Is Ark hungry though?
Che
Is
hai
he
vinto?
thirsty? Does he want to drink from the
Mr.
gas
Savage
station?
non
I
ha
hope
fatto ancora
not.
kill, c'ha 4 punti ancora.
This could be massive to turn
Così
Queasy's game
118.
Ah, è morto un altro game ancora.
Sì,
He has to go in there.
2 game.
Ah, il terzo game è morto.
Queasy.
No, secondo.
He has to be
No, il terzo. Anche il primo è morto lo start, Simone.
Il secondo?
Il secondo anche. Tutti e due lo start. Per cui 3 lo start.
Ma sai che non devi... Guarda, guarda, guarda. C'è il replay adesso.
Sì, l'ho visto.
And he gets it with ease on the Queasy. A nice attempt coming out, just wasn't enough to pull them over. And Queasy and
Mongrel è
Thomas
appena
are
sceso e
down.
morto.
Got the initial
E invece
shot off.
Mr.
Was
Savage
not
è
able to box him
morto.
up in time though. Good reaction time, to be fair, by his opponent there. Just
3
holding off
partite, io pensavo
until his
2.
duo came to help out. Queasy, I don't think even got the full finish.
Queasy-
Only the knocks,
Queasy
so
ha
won't be getting those
118
4
punti,
points.
Queasy.
As a reminder, it is 4 points per elimination today, but
Vediamo la
tomorrow the
classifica.
points do multiply by 1.5,
Cioè,
so
acqua
6
e
points per
non
elim
ricordo.
tomorrow.
Vediamo un attimo la
Look
classifica.
back at Ski Hen. We're just kind of looking around to see if there's any players rotating.
Yeah,
Ma ora cerchi la qualifica, la qualifica.
Tower for themselves.
Cosa?
Anybody's willing to make the risky play
Ora
and try to
cerchi
go
la,
for it
la
and contest
classifica.
them. So
Sul
one
tracker.
forecast tower down. Pink
Sul?
and Vico went down to kind of
Sul
start the
tracker.
game, so you gotta imagine Kiro and Kuduo are claiming that for
Scrivo
themselves.
su
Right on
Google.
cue, thank you very much.
Sì, scrivi
That's
tracker.
2 forecast
Fortnite.
towers down, seeing who's really giving themselves the best opportunity to take the game. Look at Kuduo's inventory, no shotgun at all. What a risky play, because if they were get contested, not only are they separated, I'm not
La
sure
cappa.
how well he's going to be able to fight back with just a striker.
I mean, we talked about looking to feed in these lobbies. The players in the surrounding areas that would have seen that Pink and Vico got eliminated right off the bat, and basically means that Kiro and Kiduo are going to be more than healthier.
Quello, leva la voce, leva la
Healthier
voce.
enough to get that forecast tower.
Ah,
but
sì, infatti la
Kiro's
canzone
cherry.
scritta.
They were looking like they had the tower for themselves, but now who
6,
chooses
7, a posto. Mi sentite normale, sì?
Adesso sì, adesso sì. Ma per prima cioè, l'hai messa...
And G-Res gets
Cosa?
hacked. This could be more than enough.
Perché l'hai messa?
Su un pezzo di salsiccia.
No, si era aperto da solo perché ce l'ho avvio al...
Devo scrivere.
Ma devi mettere morto.
Devi scrivere tracker con una C e con una K.
Capito,
Ma cosa
cosa devo
devi-
cercare?
È il primo che ti esce. Vai su Evans.
Classifica di potenza UE 2024.
No, devi iniziare su Evans. Clicchi su Evans.
Aspetta un attimo, lo vedo pure io.
Che di potere.
No, FNCS Grand Finals.
Ok, sta qua.
Europa. C'è la leaderboard.
Europa, poi.
E poi Europa e poi fai tipo niente, vai in basso e c'è la classifica.
Visto.
Chi è primo? Kaid con 164 punti.
Velusi e Gabix Noni Velusi e Gabix. Che tra l'altro sono
Perché Gabix è in... Cos'è, Belgio quello?
No, è Germania.
Oscuro.
Io oscuro.
Oscuro,
Ma acqua?
Dove? Ah, Darky. Sì, sei italiano.
Ma acqua dov'è?
Settimo.
Swizzy Putrick shouldn't have too many issues as they rotate on in.
Dai,
perché?
They have this initial zone quite close.
Perché su Fortnite c'è il nome.
Dove stanno Savage?
44esimi.
Meglio di Baffo.
Ma tu non hai capito che è successo? Sì,
Baffo è 49esimo. Baffo è 49esimo. Però è ancora in game.
Sì, ma
Baffo in game.
Sì, ma appena sono atterrati Mongrel è morto.
Ma sì, ma Mongrel è un bot palesemente carrierato.
No.
No,
così no.
Vado.
They're just trying to leave the POI, get some surge, backtrack in their steps. They know where all the loot is at over here towards Reckless Railways. So
No, mi lasciamo.
Colo.
See on the mini map. There are a few duos, but
Ti ricordo che sei live, Eddie?
surrounding areas of Reckless.
Ha mutato.
Nothing too close.
Ha mutato?
Eclipse and Dex.
Non è vero, non è mutato.
Ah, bella. Vabbè, lo sappiamo solo noi.
Ciao raga, ciao.
Io vado a fare un attimo una cosa.
Team that plays so well, multiple second places throughout the qualification process. Even got a first place just to get this far. Doesn't want to give up on that play. Eclipse is still going to be knocked. Dexy's the one that has to play defensive. Perhawa goes in, doesn't land the shots he needs. Everything gets turned upside down. Eclipse, the revive was actually able to go off. Now it's a 2v1. Perhawa has to make the decision. Do I continue to hold my spot or disengage? And that decision is going to be made rather quickly with him running out of materials, running out of time. Dexy, Eclipse, they're going to continue to be on the chase. And it's a short-lived chase as they find the elimination and send the full team back to the lobby.
Ah, ci sei. Buonasera.
Perfect timing to pick up his duo partner there for Hallwell. Unable to stop it, leading to his demise. Volko, Vortex is now right beside Ping and Mixon's box, just kind of eyeballing them down. You can tell they're hungry. They want something here. They want a little snack. Issue is, third zone is quite a ways away. They will have to make a rotate here, but at the same time, if they can get a bit of damage, I don't know. The question is, who's going to rotate first? Who's going to be the duo? Kind of initiate this, as there's also a lot of players in the surrounding areas that are going to be doing the same.
Yeah, I can imagine yelling at each other through the cones. You rotate first, because you know as well as I do what you're kind of alluding to. If you rotate first, you're susceptible to kind of getting tagged up. You're susceptible to kind of getting focused there in the lobby. But then you do have priority if you're able to make it through unscathed, to kind of continue to rotate ahead of everybody else. Malibuca and Mustache, they made that rotation very, very quickly in this game to try to get them a spot, which isn't too far off from their POI. Just south of them is going to be fencing fields, but they're separated. Mustache has a tower on top of a small hill. They're just trying to increase the chances of them being able to get surged so they don't have to worry about it later in the game during rotations.
You know, normally I'm not too against duos being separated when they have kind of like two separate towers, two elevated locations that they've built bases on, but Malibuca being so low, it's not like he even has that much vision. on the opponents, and they are far enough that it could get risky. But we'll switch over to Aqua Noah, who are going straight for the box fighting to get that damage. They are by Hazy Hillside, opposite side of the map from what we've been looking at. But it looks like iDrop Nebs aren't interested as they continue to rotate.
Yeah. And I know we were making all these jokes. You know, what year is it? With the people qualifying, Aqua, Mongrel. A lot of our OGs make it to this far, but it just kind of shows that they still got it. Especially knowing Aqua starting this game off in 7th place so far throughout 2 games, been pretty consistent. And this one could be the one to kind of push them over the top, ahead of that point curve. Because usually after game 3, that's when you see the curve start to form, where you're out on the leaderboard. You're either on top with very little worries, or you're in the middle. That's where you really got to pick up your game.
Let's take a look here at what Cammy was able to do. Looks like they caught Sined off guard here. Just one quick frenzy shot's all it's gonna take. Be careful though, huge shot landed onto Cammy. Dropped him down to 50 HP, forced to recuperate his HP and shield back up. The good news is 3 medkits, 3 big pots, has basically everything you would need to continue going. But you can see now they are rotating in on the side of the zone that has a lot of duos already based up and finishing their rotates even. You look at the bottom right at the mini map. So even if they take a minute to pause here in this bush and kind of take a look at where those duos are, they could plan an efficient route.
Yeah, with the zone pulling towards the north, pulling towards the east, I do believe there will be a gap if they continue to either move towards the eastern part of the zone, because a lot of those teams will already have rotated in. Mustache gets a knock on the Buell. Cammy and Seti just kind of eyeing up their rotation, waiting for a lot of these teams in, so that way they can spot them out and figure out where the next spot is going to be for them. Noah makes this one look easy. Darkies goes in and out of that box almost simultaneously with a well-placed couple shots.
Mustache now, Reaper in hand. But with 413 damage above the threshold, it's not like they're in an urgency to do much more. You can see the floppers on the ground. The big pots. Spare one's gonna be popped here. What's the rotate they're planning? They have the grapple blades. The big pot coming. Getting put to good use here. As it's Raban.
Hanno annunciato il Brotok, ha annunciato 2 nuovi brawler.
Yeah, a lot of the spots just getting more and more congested with each waving second.
It
sounds like a reboot is going on, and they're trying to chase that one. That's dark. He's lost his teammate. Maybe a couple of minutes ago, if that, and now he's just fighting to keep their game alive here in game 3. Raisin is going to get dropped to just a sliver of HP. Is he going to get anything off? No, he's not. But that's no worries. They're close to zone. They have more than enough
Angelo il primo brawler tiratore.
Instead of wasting one of those medkits earlier, going from 10 HP all the way to 100. Now he's going to start off at 30.
Look, Resin Video, we're not letting that one slide. They heard the reboot coming through, instantly crash padding as Nebs instantly
Da che top si prendono i punti?
is going to finish him off. Question is now, he has to pick up his duo partner, but the third party is too dominant. Gets E-limbed.
Overdrive da record
now as well.
Overdrive per
Buzz. Mongrel and Savage, they have 3 E-limbs on the board. They're not done yet.
Overdrive per il primo.
Make an off-spawn battle like that count. Kind of get as many points as possible, because nothing is guaranteed going up against a team like Mongrel and Savage, especially with multiple third parties that we've already seen throughout 3 games wanting to disrupt that and try to pick up points on any weak opponents. They have so much distance to cover before they find that safety in toward the zone, and since they got to go over the mountain, they can't even crash pad right out of the gate to get there.
The zone's always difficult on thin ice in the hills. It opens up some opportunities to kind of use that natural environment to block some shots as you rotate. At the same time, when it's full of duos, full of players doing the same, it makes it that much more difficult. Once again, Jacob, the kind of
Non devi metterlo a 0, non devi metterlo troppo grave, sennò ti bugga e non si sente niente. Se tu metti voice da 20, non ti senti niente, neanche a 0. Capito? Ah, capito. Mi serve per un yogurt tattico.
The snipe unable to connect.
Colo, che stavi dicendo?
Per mettere la voce così, non devi metterlo a 0, devi metterlo per forza tipo a 20 o 30, se no non si sente.
Ma perché io mando con la voce modificata?
No, prima sì, bro. Quando l'hai messo a 0, non si sentiva nulla perché si bug.
Ma a me si usa da sola la voce modificata a volte, non so per quale motivo. Perché la voce manda bene. Ma lei ha la voce modificata.
You're gonna see now. It is 6 zone.
Nel chill.
2 every second here, so they will have to pop some med kits. They have the Flowberry Fizz to grant them that mobility boost, even the grapple blades to continue. But by this zone, you can see there's a lot of duos already built up on the edge, so they will be looking back, especially if they heard shots.
Devastato. Devastato altamente.
So Resident Vadil are gonna have to be careful here, but do they even want
Sì, è
more?
così.
Still hungry for another elim. They get the crack, but quickly realize, you know what, maybe we should rotate the zone first, and then we can hold them from there.
Great decision for them, because now, when the zone does open up, there's going to be a lot of space for them to work with. Couple duos around as well. You gotta be careful. So Pablo getting cracked
Sì,
over
ma
there
allora
towards the
facciamo una...
side.
Diciamo una cosa, mi
Hero
stessa già sta
teamed up
giocando
as
con
well.
Chill perché
Lazen forced to be by himself until Locks reunite.
non
He was the
giocherà
one that got
non giocherebbe
tagged
così
up
per
on the
4
edge of
milioni.
zone not too long ago. Malibu Mustache.
Ma non sono 4 milioni, sono 100.000 a testa, i primi.
This is a team that we
Mi
thought
sembra. O 200.000 a testa.
Ho detto, sta giocando nel Chill perché sono 170.000, mica...
100%.
Se servono 4 milioni,
Kiro,
cavolo,
they do have the forecast
170.000
based up on the edge.
è complicato.
Could be, because next zone is gonna pull there once again. Pixie though, only 8 below. That 8 damage is gonna be enough. Potentially
Non ce
take
ne
him
fa
out
di
of the match here.
170.000,
There it is,
sono
gets
tanti
eliminated
però
the Storm Surge. Mustache Malibuca gonna be rewarded now with a mythic item and a medallion.
No, 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 cosa hai fatto? Cosa hai fatto, Giuseppe? Hai sentito un fischio incredibile. Mi sa che Giuseppe sta facendo casino col voice changer.
Cosa?
Stai facendo casino col voice changer?
A me che sta succedendo? Non sto
Ho sentito un fischio incredibile.
Boh, ma che ne so.
È perché stai modificando le robe.
Non ne so, facendo una cosa... Ce ne so su voice mod.
Wow.
Colo, mannaggia.
No sniper rifle in King's hand. It's what's made him turn around from these situations time and time again. As now what has to be done is a full entry to an opponent's box, and it comes through.
Ci siamo.
The first knock is secured. The 2v1 is still active, but Surge is still ticking.
Wow. Ma mi sentite? Vabbè, aspetta. Come la togliere? Comunque volevo installare un voice changer per mettere tipo i personaggi. Capito, Giuseppe?
Grows now. Gonna pick up the extra loot from King and Phaser. 101 above from those eliminations. That engagement was also a savior for the duo as we check out now. Yanis Flixie. Be careful. The Storm Surge aggression continues, but Flixie unfazed.
Oh no.
Oh! Hanno fatto buon buff, no.
That's how Yanis was kind of left as a solo. Again, another big team on that leaderboard. Losing someone before placement points can go in. Yanis quickly rotating on over. Flowberry Fizz, you see him falling slowly but surely down that damage threshold, which is fine and dandy for now, but he's gonna have to start going on the lookout. One zone closed. Cammy find a huge elimination onto Tayson. A little bit of a rematch from the Invitational going against Veno next, but he's gonna get chopped down and get everything for himself.
Veno got kicked by Surge in the last moment there, making him get eliminated. All these veterans, you can see how difficult it has been to get enough damage. As time and time again, we see these players go down to Surge. Shimoki now. Could he be the next victim? One above. Not gonna hold on too long as now 20 below. Misha though, TD straight into a knock. Can they secure the finish? Pressure from the side. Coming through. They do get the refresh, but they're only 27 above.
Yeah, still pressure pressure on the other side of that build. And the
No,
problem
Tyson è vero,
is they have to go
19esimi,
max
17esimi.
distance on the other side of the zone. They're looking to find some safety, and without any heals, no shields, no med kits that they can use, and running very, very low on build. So Misha
Chi?
are going to have to find some sort of elimination and refresh on this rotation, and still getting tagged
No.
down through the sky.
Sì.
Be careful here, just one
Ma
shot
stai guardando da Fortnite?
Misha.
La stai guardando?
No,
Ma di comunque 22esimo.
Against the rock could be enough to
22esimo.
him here.
Io
As
ce
they're
l'ho
190
allora
above. Storm Surge is not going to
indietro.
affect them. Medkit gets dropped, and they start healing.
No, ma Rick Bor ha fatto solo 4 punti.
This is where they can kind of wrap
Perché
down low towards the
questa storia
bottom.
ci ha avuto una kill.
Qualification, they were pretty consistent towards the top of the leaderboard, doing what they do best. Yan is still under pressure, 46 below, and that pressure
Mr.
just gets even more
Savage,
difficult to
Mr.
work with now that he's on the
Savage.
rotation, trying to find a spot in towards the zone. Ultimate low ground with still some damage to go, but he does have the Flowberry Fizz, does have some medkits, so he could try to heal this one out.
39 players, 22 duos.
Andando a giocare.
Water, don't drown here, Yanis.
Time,
You have to find
fly.
something. 2 medkits could help him last a little longer, but with Storm Surge ticking, you have to be careful. 72 HP, medkit gets popped, and the pressure continues from the players below.
Samu, ci sei?
Cancel the medkit, build up a little more. He has a bit of wood, but with the shots coming through, I don't know if it's going to be enough time.
Still 58
Vabbè, ci sta che
below.
un NFNCS la fanno 160.000.
A few players to go down before he saved the Storm Surge, and almost means the second one being used rather quickly. He has to rotate.
Più o meno, con tutti i soldi che prendono potevano farli
trying to
tutte
get
la
some shots
prossima.
now that he has some elevation.
Ma la top 2?
Towards the zone.
La top 2 di questo FNCS vale World Cup del prossimo anno. Tipo.
Found for Yanis.
Lo quando siamo?
He ends up in his line of sight. Shimoki as well almost
Sì.
became a target. Blessing in disguise for Yanis, but he's still below the threshold.
Praticamente tipo o quest'anno cioè, o il prossimo anno o quello dopo ancora dovrebbero fare la World Cup. E chi si qualifica top 2 in questo dovrebbero essere già qualificati. Cioè chi fa la top 2 in questo torneo sono già qualificati in teoria. Da quello che ho capito.
Top 1 no.
No, top 2 e top 1 intendo. Sia chi vince che fa top 2.
Barely is able to get above shots
Penso
like
che non
that.
sia un
Gonna give him a
problema
little bit more room
per
in
me
terms
se
of
Savage
comfortability
Mongolia
before he goes to the
qualificarsi.
front side yet again, doing wonders here as a solo, but a refresh is going to have to come through. Out of materials, out of resources. Voco's Vortexers, first one's on the high ground, but Vidil on that mid layer, he could be the one along with Reason to try to take over that high ground.
Yanis taken out. Cammy still staying strong as a solo. 63 builds to work with. Medkit, Mythic, Flowberry has everything to continue
Guarda,
clutching.
dopo l'NSCS andiamo giù su
Could be
Fortnite.
his opportunity, but time is slowly but surely running out. Reckless Railways giving a little bit of separation with those builds that are already
Sì,
there.
ma fra Mr. Savage se la sta
Still
giocando con
battling
Cilla.
high ground, but a
Bene.
lot of damage has been taken. They're going to get pushed further and further down low thanks to
Gioca
Vortexers
così.
and Voco.
Could this be it? Will they want to go for the high ground? Vortexes and Volko
Quanto
holding
sono?
strong, but for how long? As there's only 7 builds left for Volko. Chop down now.
Noni.
Opponents, they build up. It's Axe Force.
Comunque dicono che
That was his chance. Roban's
Gabi
there to
ci
back him
pensa.
up. Voco doesn't have any builds. He cannot keep getting up higher and higher. He's going to have to let the fight come down to him, and that's
Belusi, vabbè,
exactly
Belusi
what
gioca da
came through.
controllo.
Vortexers did a good job of battling both
Belusi?
Axe
No,
Force
Belusi.
and Roban
Ma così sì,
down,
non
and
mi
even
ricordo.
elimination happening to the backside of zone, but he wasn't able to get the
Gabi
plants.
così.
He's out of mats and out of time.
Gabi sì.
Cammy still up though. 4 elims to his name now. 18 builds as he continues to clutch as a solo, but boom, eliminated. Vidil, 5 on the board. Reason knocked down.
That's the med kits that he was able to found and immediately starts putting them to work, trying to stagger himself back, get a couple more placement points. Vortex's Voco, they had high ground and they're doing a good job of holding on to it, but both of them are weak. Slivers of HP, only shield to get passed around.
Ping, 1 shot away from
Morto.
securing an elimination.
Va
He
delle
does it.
morte.
No medkit picked up though as he's continuing to build out.
Chi è che è morto?
Mats are running low. It is a full duo
Vaden.
down below. It is a full
Chi?
duo up above. The 2 versus 2.
Vaden.
Volko gets cracked.
That is a big shot, but Mixon goes down. It's all up to pings, no HP, no build.
166
Battling to high, but
punti,
it's
Vaden.
not enough. A huge shutdown for Vortexers and Voco to take game 3, and they were the team Takada that was able to not only grab high ground, but finally hold on to it to the very end.
a crucial hammer pump shot to secure them the victory royale. They were contested through the late game. People time and time again trying to take the high ground from them, but they were landing their shots. They were connecting what needed to be connected, and from that, they got the win.
That team that you were talking about battling for the high ground, Roban, Axe Force, they were immediately dethroned and sent back to the lobby to watch this masterpiece. They knew they had their opponents down. They knew they had them out. They waited for the grapple blade, and two well-played shot ends that run. Voco Vortexers have finally awakened for their slumber.
We have not seen a single heal off
Vittoria
today.
Reale
It's
non
been
becca punti solo.
non-stop action in these final moments. You can tell the level that this lobby is at.
Yep, but this is it. Game 3 is over. We finally have reached the halfway point of day 1 of the EU FNCS. I'm going to throw it on over to analysts to let us know where everybody stands on that leaderboard.
Thank you very much. I am really looking forward to finding out who has made it to the top after such an intense battle. And Volco and Vortexers were already comfortable within the top 10, top 5 even. So surely that's going to be taking them all the way to number 1. We've got to just wait a little while our elves check everything out, make sure everything's fair before we bring you that leaderboard. Elves.
I primi sono Vadel.
I
primi sono Vadel
e
Razor.
elves there. I don't know, but any country that has cold bits, I associate with elves. I hope that I haven't offended anyone in the Blast production team, and if I have words with me.
Mi stai facendo fare 3 partite con 100 punti.
They're continuing this high ground legacy. If you're able to fight off the Vikings that come your way, it's yours for the taking, Mini.
Yeah, they're not typically a team that we've seen on a height too much in these sort of level lobbies this season. I was quite surprised when I saw them take height there. They are opportunistic, of course, they will do it. But it seems like that was the play style that worked for them in the open qualifiers and brackets like that, for example. So I'm interested to see how they're going to develop
Razor e Vadel sono primi.
I mean, they took it very well, of course.
Non mi aggiorna la classifica, aspetta.
That have just performed very
Dalla
well recently in
classifica che ho
terms
visto la
of
mia stessa
mid-game
video
strategy,
su...
so it's good that they got to that end game and they just took
Sì,
the
vero.
opportunity to take height, even though it's not necessarily like them.
Yeah, honestly, that was what
Delusi e Gabix sono scesi
saw
sedicesimi.
in the first game they had a good game and it looked like a sort of Volco and Vortex's game from this season, where they were a lot lower down but still making things work, a bit scrappy at times, but again, you push through and you get a top 5. That game again was just not what I was expecting, but it's a good sign. I mean, if you're a fan of them, the fact that they can give you this type of game when it comes, I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about them as a duo and what they can do in this kind of lobby.
Yeah, I think it was just that mid-game for them as well. We've spoken about it a little bit. I know I've spoken about it a little bit throughout this season. Just being able to get that forecast tower sometimes, giving them the intel on where that next zone is going to be, just allows them to position themselves in the optimal position. And in this sort of in this game, it just didn't seem like anyone was really up on height and dominating too well. It wasn't really one of those games that we've seen in the first 2 games where we've seen a team that have taken height early, then held on to it and done very well at that. It was a bit of a mismatch of an endgame there.
To be honest, though, also, if you look back, even at the names in that replay, we do have names that we're used to seeing in grand finals, but not necessarily names that we would expect to win. And this is the interesting thing that's happened so far this evening. Some of the big hitters have gone down really, really early. Thomas and Queasy in that particular game, Biko and Pink as well. I mean, we know the reason though that Biko and Pink are struggling to launch sometimes, I guess, 11, because they have got a hotly contested game plan because they are going for those forecast towers against Kaduo and Kiro. So it's a risky maneuver and a risky strategy, and sometimes it's not paying off for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected that to be less 50-50, right? Both teams are going to land, loot up, and then go fight for the forecast tower. That game, straight 50-50, right? And Vico and Pink sort of got, bested there. So, again, not the kind of games we sort of expecting there in that regard, but we'll see sort of how they bounce back from that. And again, similar situation with Queasy and Thomas. We said it literally in the segment before. These guys are contested. They're not going to get every game to show what they can do, so they have to use the games they have and make them count.
And Mixon as well, second place for those guys, moving them up the leaderboard there, 22 places. So we're still at that stage of the event right now where one big game can really turn the tournament on its head for you in a favorable way. Seti and Cammy as well. Cammy doing such a good job solo clutching there. We've seen that happen for this duo more often than not this season, it seems like, and I'm kind of worried about that for this duo, because we're used to seeing them being so connected almost as a duo, never just separate and as solo. So although he did do an incredible job at actually clutching here, I want to see more from this duo when it comes to that mid-game prowess that we know them for.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, there's been so much to talk about that. It's something that we haven't really touched much on so far. But like, when you're talking about favorites for the whole competition, a lot of people again have had Cammy and Seti in terms of looking at the best teams in the world. Who's been the most consistent of those, you know, traditional big names in EU? You would have probably given it to Cammy and Seti, right? So, you know, again, they're a team that many people expect to do well in this competition, but it's been much of what we've seen from them this season. It's been disjointed. That's never a word you would have ever associated with Cammy and Seti in the past. So it's, you know, wishful thinking to think all of a sudden they'll piece it together now for finals, but you just have to hope the solo clutches keep rolling through.
I'm wondering, guys, about the victory royales this season, and I know it's hard to tell from the qualifiers because day 1 and day 2, sorry, qualifiers, I should say, semi-finals, day 1 and day 2, we had get a victory royale and you get all the way to the grand finals. But I feel like this time, this finals is not necessarily going to be won by a team that's got a victory royale, because there are duos that we do look to for consistency, and the teams that do take it all are struggling, as I said earlier, 11. So I don't know if I'm on the money with that
Era
one.
mangiare.
Maybe I'm not.
Dimmi.
Maybe we'll have to see, because
Dimmi.
we are ready for game 4. So we're going to head to
Mongrel
and Jacob.
perso anche il quarto game. Land.
This is it, Takata. The halfway point for day 1 is finally
Hanno trovato
over.
completamente.
And typically, if this was a 6-game tournament,
Sì,
I would be
fra,
talking
di
about the
brutto.
way you play the
Sono
rest of
morti
the day
proprio fra.
matters so
Appena
much.
atterrato
I gotta
questa
ask you,
stava
this
già
being a
morto.
12-game
E anche
format,
l'altra volta.
how
Appena atterrato.
important is the second half of the day?
Ah sì, che gli ha rubato la
Oh,
cesta.
it's especially crucial in terms of the format, not only being 2 days, but also the point multipliers. I mean,
Scusatemi,
increasing for day
ragazzi,
2 is
non-
1.5 times the points you get day 1
c'ero,
in the
scusate.
second day of tournament. 6 points per elimination instead of 4. It's gonna make it. I
Era
it's gonna make
mangiare,
changes
Stavo
era mangiare.
in the
guardando,
leaderboard.
sto mettendo la roba sul
Gotta go
computer.
ahead and ask my resident pro player, the guy who carries me in ranked all the time, what you think about
Un
some
bot
of these
in
things.
centro in
And I
tratti live
think
non
Storm
c'era.
Surge,
Niente.
another one of the big changes that we're seeing really affect the action around the lobby. Teams
Manca
in
un'ora,
certain
un'ora,
scenarios
ragazzi.
are forced to go for that surge a little bit earlier, and in some cases even
Per
later
Savic
in the game
giocherà
than
una
what they used
partita
to. And you're
perché
seeing it really
aspetta
affect
mezz'ora.
some of these fights, especially those in the late game. But
E i primi sono
game 4
Vadel
is
e
ready.
qui.
You heard Battle Bus. Let's jump into it.
3 matches left for the day. Will Mongrel and
fatto un
Savage
punto
be
game,
able to
hanno
turn the
fatto.
tables around and come out on top in the early game? Is Pink and Vico gonna go for that 50-50 once again against Kiro and Kiduo?
Punti,
So
però.
many early engagements, but it looks like there's been a change. Pink Vico no longer dropping down below where the forecast tower is. They're actually dropping on the hill. And look at this, Jacob. From the clouds, flying in. Is this gonna be enough to come out on top?
Now, they definitely have the shields, so depending on what they find on that low ground, Pink Vico, they know all too well what kind of loot is going to be down there. Crash pad yet again, a chance to sneak up onto one, but he sees that one coming.
Oh,
nice
Vico.
shots being landed. Vico doesn't back down. He gets the first knock onto Kiro.
Now, with the upper hand in this battle, Kiduo is forced to make a difficult decision. Does he go for the 1 versus 2? He's farming up, maximizing the amount of materials as he knows there's no more time to run. Vico, Pink now, take the shots, but you gotta be careful. Pink gets cracked. They're low on materials. Kiduo should have more in this situation, as now they tried to do a cheeky little crash right, but with the frenzy shotgun in hand, it's gonna be a 63, but it's not enough to get the heal at 1v1.
Riccardo non so dove sia andato.
Wasn't there.
Mangiare
Vico
è
goes in just a little bit too ahead of himself.
No,
No,
Ricky
Pink is forced to
non
battle it out, and he
lo
doesn't have a shotgun. This could
Ah,
get
vado a
dangerous.
mangiare prima.
Breaks into the first box.
Ci sono,
Vai,
sì.
Doesn't care.
Vedi,
Kiduo
ci
sono,
stands
ci sono.
tall yet
Riccardo.
again. Back-to-back
Ha
games
trovato
taking
pure
out
il
Pink
quarto
and
game,
Vico
Mr.
off
Savage.
spawn.
You could not be losing those engagements when so
Madonna,
much is on the
bravo.
line. I
Thomas
like the kind
sta
of game plan
112.
change though. Switching up their drop,
Primi sono
trying to
Vadel
find a new
ancora.
way to come out on top. It's all about
Arrivo ragazzi, torno subito.
in Fortnite competitive. But you have to do it quickly if you're trying to make those changes in day 1. You'll have a bit more time to study in between day 1 and 2, but right now, it all has to be done in the moment.
Finally jump on board this fight. Over towards Lavish Slayer. And so far on the day, we've seen very, very quick interactions between the teams. Getting pushed off in that last game. You've seen take a different approach here. Making sure to loot up the bottom. Trying to work your way to the bottom and kind of work your way back on up and get as many of the resources as possible. A lot of those trees inside near the NPC is going to give you quick materials in terms of that wood. And not an angle just yet for Queasy and Thomas. They're going to go ahead and continue to play a slow game, but Noah, oh my gosh, that was a quick replay. He got 2.
Yeah.
2 quick elims. Aim as strong as ever. As Thomas HD and Queasy have a bit more time to breathe now. In the previous match, once again, the engagement was finished off quickly with Thomas HD being knocked down and eliminated. Queasy forced to leave and do what he could as a solo. But now that both players are up, shields in hand, materials and weapons, it's going to be a bit more.
Vabbè, ovviamente loro tifano Super Raider, che ha ancora 0 punti oltretutto.
Longer they take here, we know all too well. You see Gabix on the other side, Nisha, Teeny break into the box onto Chari. Take him down.
Dash urla troppo per me.
Gears has no choice but to disengage. You see him at the bottom of your mini map trying to get out. Stay
Quando
alive.
vince fa.
Scavenging all the barrels, all the loot. That's something that you know this team does so well. Cut off people's path, catch them off guard, find eliminations where you at least expect them to.
Waiting for that forecast tower. So far, no more opponents in sight.
Ehi.
Che game stanno? Che game stanno?
Non lo so, quarto credo.
Quarto.
Skiing down the mountain now. They have came in for third parties.
Sono riuscito a fare qualche punto.
In previous matches
No, vedo.
kind of staggering out the engagement.
Ancora 0 punti.
Which is part of the reason
No, non è vero.
forced them to try and speed up those battles. But it looks like
Però non
even
sono
though
morti
they
a
know the
spawn.
engagement has ended, they might be the ones this time around that want to contest the
Sì,
forecast
baffo.
tower, but I might have spoken
Sono
too
ancora
soon
49esimi però.
as Tayson drops down low.
0 punti.
They contested it in game 1.
Ma ci credo, i 42 siano 0 punti.
Took that card on a wild goose
Ma
chase. Game 2,
da
Kirio and Kaduo almost
dai
uncontested
45
over there on that side of the map.
45esimi in giù hanno 0
Darky and
punti.
Darkest looking
Poi
like they're ready to
44esimi
fight for
Mongral
it. And it's only a
e
solo that they're
24
going up
punti.
against. So great odds here for Tayson and Venom.
Mongrel e Mustafavi hanno
4
Have they
punti.
taken it?
no.
Darky's
Sì, hanno 4 punti, ma il quarto game l'hanno
for Yanis.
Stanno ancora facendo.
Tutti quanti li hanno
As a
trollati.
solo.
no, l'hanno trovato sono morti all'epico.
Yeah, and this is the
Tutti
team.
quanti li
Però
hanno
si deve
trollati.
ancora aggiornare.
You see, they have that mythic hyper SMG in their
Madonna,
inventory.
cosa
That's
avevo
where
schifo.
they're able to get that for themselves. Darby still chasing Yanis on the other side.
Sono
Forcing
dei
a game of ping
coglioni,
pong as he
non so
rotates
che
back on over. Cringe and
Mongrel.
Noms. I saw it in the feed. Queasy Thomas did go
Ma
down
ok, si è
over
aggiornato.
towards Lavish Slayer.
i primi sono
50esimo.
validi.
For their game
Baffo
Yanis trying to save the day.
50esimo.
Currently positioned in fourth. For him to go down
Mongral
here,
e Savage
for the
47esimo.
consistency.
Do they
4
know?
punti ci stanno.
Yanis crouched up.
Sì, ma in 3 game no. Cioè in 4 game no.
Right
Ho
now.
fatto un punto game.
Sì, hanno solo mezz'ora per fare un game.
It looks like they
Bene.
haven't found him.
Ma devono fare
The
20 kill
last thing you
win
want
se
to do in a
vogliono
lobby like this
fare.
is waste time.
Ma
But sometimes
Anche
you're
di più.
forced
sì,
to just wait out a little bit, which is exactly
come
what's
abbiamo
happening
sentato,
to
però
Yanis
devono fare un
here.
botto di
30
kill.
win.
It looks like
30 kill win è possibile, no,
Bevis,
ma
Pablo also getting closer
cioè
and
devono proprio
closer.
mettere l'asciugamanino. Poi se si mettono a giocare, si mettono a giocare
Classy
come
courts over here
prima.
towards the north side of the map. And
Cioè
you
come
can see
queste
the
4
edge of
partite.
zone
No, ma
over
non
Classy
stanno giocando
ma-
bene.
Essentially kind of
No,
center
non
up
sono
this
facendo
game
cazzo, cioè
versus being either
po'
far to
niente.
the left or the eastern side of the map, mixing in pings.
Sto pensando,
Kinda
questa
see
Savage sto pensando a altro.
where their position on
Oh
the
sì, mi
leaderboard,
presti dove
just
puoi per riscattare
outside of
l'Xbox.
that top 5.
Cos'è?
And they have
Samu,
scouted
Samu,
over
Samu,
there
scusami,
on
non
sites,
io.
multiple players all around this, but they're just
Samu.
waiting for somebody they can catch off
Oh,
guard,
yeah.
and that could potentially
Ma tu
be
su dove Paul c'è una carta collegata?
Reason reveal now.
Sì o no?
Deciding to rotate a bit later into zone.
Perfetto, grazie per la risposta. No, devo dire notevole. Ti sento bassissimo.
Un attimo.
No,
As they
guarda.
quickly jump off to build some walls, and now with the HP and shield advantage, Reason Vidil want to take this engagement.
And already they have the advantage with a couple of those shots that they've landed. They separated the two players, going different directions. Vidil is hot on the heels for one. He knows that just a sliver of HP is going to be left, and Robin's going to go down. Vidil makes that one look easy. And they have that hammer pump, the mythic hammer pump from Snooty. So already the game and their loot is off to a great start. Reason's going to be hot on the chase for the only one that's going to be remaining left. But Vidil went down to somewhere.
Se tu hai una card di rete collegata ai polver. Ok, dopo ti scrivo perché mi serve un attimo. Non per prenderti soldi, ma perché devo fare una roba. Te lo scrivo adesso.
A frenzy versus frenzy battle on the other side. Reason was able to come off on top, get the med kits, more than enough shield. And since you see that team in the mini map disengaging off of where they got the elimination onto Vidil, you know he's going to be able to, at the very minimum, grab that reboot card.
The good news is, I believe there's even more than 3 medkits. We saw some left over after he picked up that initial stack, so he'll have the time to kind of bring his duo partner back in the match, but the issue is it's going to take so much time that once they eventually get into zone, they're going to have to kind of make a comeback. Cammy, similar situation, but we've seen what he's capable of, even as a solo.
Dopo ti chiamo.
Was able to clutch so many points.
Tanto mi sarebbe santo mettere le cose e
One
basta.
of the previous matches is now
Per me è
looks like he's put
le
in a similar
cariche.
situation once again.
Basta accedere a People. Tranquillo. Faccio sessione con quel QR code o qualcosa del genere. Vediamo comunque. Vediamo.
This is just the start of something special. Cammy can get Seti's reboot card back on in. Caden, Diox just rotating, flow base fizz, crash pad, a combination from both. They just want to cover as much distance as possible and beat a lot of the teams to the position in towards zone. Rightfully so, 164 points. They're sitting cool in second place.
Mix and Pink. On the other hand, with a duo close by, it's CZB Nathan fighting for that combat cash.
Dove sta mangiando il tweet?
The forecast towers should have been captured by this point. And the next objective here, it's combat caches, it's Rift Island. Which one are you going for? As Mixon securing to kind of take these shots at medium range. Nothing too risky. As all he really wants is to use up the time, get that combat cache, and in the meantime, maybe even a bit of damage. Game 1 victors close behind them. Arya and Loki kind of seeing if they have any options here as both players continue to take their shots.
Gioca Loki e Sha. Guarda come giocano. Non si boxano manco.
Just biding their time, waiting for the perfect moment, and CZB trying to disengage. They're going to take that as a green light. Some shots going to land, but Arian taking some shots himself, turning around, trying to reunite with his teammate, break into the box onto CZB. The damage is there. The knock comes through, but it is going to be a trade. Nathan did wonders to battle back and at least get a knock in his favor. Loki, no choice but to try and disengage. He noticed that second team was there, and he doesn't want to bite out more than he can chew, but guess what? They're on the chase.
C'è uno nella chat di foto che ha scritto L Savage L Bomb.
Savage.
4 game persi all'inizio. 4 punti, dai.
And there it is, another elimination. First one actually for the duo picked up here.
4 L li metto alto.
A big moment for them. As you see, they were trying to sneak up on a team. Everything paid off. They got their 1 elimination. A little bit of a refresh in terms of shields and a lot of the healables, but very light on materials from where they would like to be. Vanyak and Sined rotating over towards Reckless Railways. They know somebody else is nearby. But I don't think this is a time for them to get aggressive unless they know that he is a solo, which he is not.
Be careful. If you get cracked, that's almost like with the opponents that were taking shots, or even the duos that were boxed up around them.
Ma non c'era nel nome.
Sul tracker Fortnite c'è scritto clan.
Sì, lo so.
The Reckless Railways. It's a lot of people that have kind of built their bases on top of a building as they can replace. They're breaking the walls. to replenish those materials
Mr.
that they
Savage
used
ha
up.
più spettatori di Fortnite.
È vero. Seriamente, quanti ne ha Mr. Savage?
63.000 ce l'ha.
Looking around, they escaped one
Magari
fight,
passassero tutti quanti da me.
trying to gather information. Everybody else
In
gathering
teoria,
a lot of
poi
loot they
magari
have
si sono
from the cash.
abbassati.
Extra heals here.
52 adesso.
So
Prima
in
c'era
theory,
Ma ci
puts
sono da
Surge
fare, 30.000.
to trade shots for Surge without the worry of taking too
no,
much damage because they
sono
have the extra shields.
tipo
right behind them from that
53.000.
combat cache. But they still have some distance to cover before they
100.000
are in
persone a
zone, and they're
guardare.
targeting two
Solo due
teams
da me.
on the other side of that landscape, just trying to go ahead and have some of those Thunderburst shots
Sì, due.
break through the builds and get some damage for their Surge.
Fourth zone, 66 players up.
Le
More
FCS
players
non vanno tanto.
are getting eliminated throughout this
Pensare
match.
guarda
Sky forced to build
Aspetta.
up. Putrick, Swizzy do not
Ma
want
anche
to lose
100
a
sono
lot
tanti.
of shielder HP.
Anche averne
here.
30 fissi
They
sono
know this
tanti.
duo partner is a bit split. Grapple Blade is going to be the savior to group them back up. As Swizzy now
Savage
decides to
non gli frega
rotate
niente che
along
se
the
ce
side
n'ha
here, not going
100.000.
directly in. They're still not inside of the zone.
Savage sa che c'ha 100.000.
And they can assume that
Savage
there are going to be some duos looking back at them. So they do not
non
want to
deve
spend too much time here, but
nel
as they get
senso,
closer and
ha
closer,
giocato
it makes me
tornei,
think
è bravo.
maybe they do want a bit of aggression. Is it just recuperating
Stanno
with the
pushando,
combat
vado.
cache?
Minchia, non sei qualificato.
So far away, maybe not in this zone, but in the next
Oh
zone.
no.
That's where it typically tends to happen. So Malibuca and Mustache is very, very important here for them to gather all this intel of where players are currently positioned at. So when they make their rotation over, it's
We do have some duos already based up on the Rift Island, below the Rift Island, along the natural rifts that do appear. Malibu and
C'è un
Mustache,
po'
though,
di errori di
saying we don't need rifts, we don't
connessione.
need launch pads, we've got our grapple
Tutto
blades.
rosso.
We can rotate on foot. As I see from afar, yeah, it's King, it's Phaser. They're up against Tayson and Veno.
Raga, alle 22
This
e
is an
mezza tipo
engagement
venuto
that
per
a
fuori.
couple seasons ago you would have never imagined having King and Phaser. Being from the Brazil region, now up in Europe. I believe they made it to the late game in the last match. They've had some troubles with Surge in the first couple.
King c'ha solo 12 punti.
Have they learned from their mistakes? Have they been able to adapt is the
Vabbè,
question.
guardare il baffo che ne ha 0.
Che posso fare? Lui che gioca
La
male.
quarta
that's something
partita
I'm kind of eyeing the rest of this
forse
game because you don't want to be down on Surge next to
Adesso
Venom and
non ne
Tayson
ha
really having
Muovi,
no
non
option
te le
to
cose.
try to go in the box. Zone's going to close.
Morto.
Going drastically across the
Non
map
bel team,
yet
adesso,
again. Not too much of a worry for the players
Ci
positioned
vado.
on top of Loot Island. But for everybody else that has to make the rotation, it's almost better sooner rather than later. But timing has to be perfect. You go too soon, you become a focus. You go too late, you get held out. So a lot of these teams, they're already on the clock.
Guarda, sta spaccando tutta l'isola.
We talked about the Rift Island earlier on, but as now the close, or the zone, begins closing. It's going to push them out as Vidil's trying to kind of get as many materials as possible, make use of the time he has here. See if he can even find a bit of loot that's been left over. Only two duos here, sub below. Meanwhile, the duo's already boxed up in zone. Do know that rotates are going to come through. Might even use that as an opportunity to take shots on them. For Shakoth and Skydune, though, they're focused on positioning.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map right now. Positioning is going to be important because we have the probability of it continuing to move over towards the east side, and we've seen so many mountain ranges, some big, some small, some gigantic even, that players are going to have to traverse through, and if you don't plan accordingly,
Sti alberi sono bellissimi da farmare.
you will run out of materials and builds, and that's when things will become a nightmare. Skydune, Shaco's 86 above the damage threshold. It's enough for them to feel comfortable now, but in the back of their mind, they're worried about where they're going to get their shots off at.
We are in the fifth zone. The cutoff will end at 60 players. Just 4 need to be eliminated. But Vidil
È
and
troppo
Reason,
bello il
they're not worried about that.
Erasmus.
Directly
Di Erasmus.
into their opponent's box. Unable to find him, though. 13 above as Sined continues to fly away, to run towards the zone.
Dimmi.
Just a couple shots could be all they need, as now it's just left to
Guarda,
3
morto.
players trying
Nel
to
gioco,
stay up.
ragazzi, nel gioco, nel gioco.
This could be a great moment for them because I did see Cade go down in the feed. Yep, the Oxy left by himself, Diox. he's going to be all by his lonesome. Luckily for him, he does have all that loot, so he can pick and choose his loadout. But Wheat, Shmoky, they're right next to him. So many teams positioned inside of Reckless Railways. They're making their way towards Reckless Railways. The biggest thing that he does have going for him is he's 300 above the damage threshold, has 3 med kits, so that way he doesn't have to make a drastic move here and get too greedy for positioning of his own.
Can he hold on? 27 seconds still. He has to make a move.
Ma quello che fine fa?
Flowberry fizzes. Spare medkits so much. Kind of like a little party he's got going on here with the amount of loot, the amount of Flowberry fizzes. It looks like he is going to be able to hold off. So much damage has been dealt. But he has a long journey ahead of him. Has the materials, has the loot, but playing as a solo always makes it significantly more difficult, especially with the level of this lobby. TD Misha, pressure's on them now. They are above the threshold, but with the shots coming through, all it's going to take is for them to get cracked, and the shots will continue.
Reason just goes in, takes down Diox. And I was gonna say it's a blessing for him in this situation because heal-offs haven't really been too much of a thing to worry about here throughout the first couple of games. But who cares about a heal-off when you got Vidil and Reason that kind of charges into your box and they know you're solo. 4 more points for them. Positioning, moving so much closer to those placement points coming in. There's only 4 more teams need to go down before all those placement points begin to trickle in.
Lennox, Moni, 71 below, splitting up the shields, making sure they've got 100 effective HP and shield before they do anything risky. They could be forced to here. You can see they're preparing something. Is it a pre-edit? Is it a double pickaxe? It looks like they're going for a pre-edit here, trying to get in onto the Buell, but he's ready for it. He has the peak. Can he connect the shot? It connects. 17 shield left on Linux now as the Storm Surge keeps ticking. So does the damage. It's going to be Pixel and his duo partner who capitalized on the aggression.
Yeah, that was great damage they were able to land. Just so far below the threshold, it just simply wasn't going to be enough. Dexy Eclipse, we see them survive already throughout the day, and what a tough situation it was. Now they're rewarded with the first sense of that high ground, but we've talked about being too early. This is the earliest I've ever seen a team kind of build and expend mats to try to get it. 7th zone. You know they're going to have to rotate and give that up if they want a chance to get in zone.
King, 1 elim on the board, but it's still going to put them below by 33 damage. They have spare loot, they have the flowberries, the medkits. There's 52 players up here in the 7th zone. 12 have to be eliminated as the rotates come through. Long distance to be traveled. They do have the grapple blades, they have the crash pads, but as they fly through the air and through the sky, all the players that need to do damage will be looking for them.
Yeah, you said it yourself. 12 players need to go down with the heals that they have. It is impossible for them to out-heal it. King and FaZe need to continue to figure out where they're going to get the shots. Even 22 above momentarily wasn't a feeling that they were comfortable with, but FaZe are still finding shots on that rotation. Goes above 100, but quickly falling down below. It just goes to show how active the lobby is. King peaks just a little bit too much. They spray into the box, and their run comes to an end.
Both players gone down. If you get cracked while Storm Surge is active, pressure is on you. You need to get out of that situation as everybody will begin focusing you. FaZe and Benno, though, who have a good amount of real estate, will have those options to take shots as Reason finds one, puts him 6 above. Can he get the finish for that extra damage?
Vidil snuck some shots in through. I don't know how he was able to run that quick behind Reason after landing a couple of those shots, but it shows how swiftly these players are moving in and out of the build, especially when they need it most. Still 7 players need to go down before Storm Surge deactivates momentarily, and there's a huge amount of damage being dished around the lobby.
You can see Storm Surge striking from above. Players all over this 8th zone. Nobody is safe. Vortexers, Volko, they secured the first ever victory royale in an FNCS finals in the last match. Will they be able to make history and get a back-to-back as they continue landing shot after shot? Vortexers, What aim does he have as Mustache Malabuka now 27 above? They need to group up.
And what a perfect time to wake up for Voco and Vortex.
Oh, sono tornato.
Quello, Merstac c'ha l'R
All
mitico.
day long, and they are doing more than just making it work.
Merstac
Above the
c'ha...
threshold, 70, still finding
l'R mitico.
opportunities. Mustache on the backside of the zone, trying to see if he can spot
Okay.
anybody
Ah,
else
capito.
trying to rotate in. Art's
due di
gets the
Malibu.
first one in his line of sight. Even though he goes down, Mustache doesn't get credit. He's still
Capito.
taking teams out and putting them in a tough
Chi è entrato?
spot.
Buonasera, Sam.
Making use.
Vado a prendermi qualcosa da mangiare, raga, arrivo.
Big AR.
Quello, levati il
Quanto
voice,
farò?
non ti senti tanta voce robotica.
This damage is crucial.
Non ho fatto niente.
Coming zones is
No, togli gli attenti dalla chat vocale.
further and further away from Reckless.
Si sente malissimo.
Chapix up above. Will the history of these matches continue today? The high ground dominance from the first moving zone all the way to the last one.
This would be the time to counter. This would be the time to try to take that high ground. We still have to be careful because there
Ora?
are some late high ground retakes that we have seen throughout the qualification process. Long rotation for everybody involved.
200
Max
punti,
Bull,
vale.
Lead Schmokey trying to stack
Cos'è quella
himself
pubblicità
back, find
di pizza?
elimination. They see a weak to Buell. They
basta.
try to go in, but 11 below the damage threshold. They cannot get
la
greedy and over focus on one thing. Schmokey finally backs up. That was Darky, and Dark is trying to break into the box and
Vado a prendere qualcosa da mangiare, arrivo.
They're
Venuto.
8 below the damage threshold.
Fizz comes through. Mobility granted. Now rotation has to continue. 11 below. Just one quick shot. Even with the frenzy. Azure in the sky could be enough. Veno though. Tayson bumping up their Elim counter to 4. As now they need to rotate. Tayson though low on HP. They have the heals. But do they have the time? It's Noms and Cringe now who've taken height.
Yep, and they taken down Queasy and Thomas to start the game off. Might as well take the game after that as Veno Tayson feeling a little bit of the pressure throughout the first couple of games. It hasn't necessarily went their way, but better late than never, I always say. And this is their chance to really rise up that leaderboard with a well-placed game.
Reason for deal, 6 on the board. They're on fire currently. They just need to continue the momentum. They have the materials, they have the loot. With pressure being applied from above, they're able to get ahead, building up now, closer and closer to second height. What's their game plan?
Yep, they're already in first place, or at least up top side of the leaderboard. They can go ahead and steal it away convincingly with a well-placed game, especially with Cade and Dion's already out. Veno still trying to go ahead and make a high ground play for himself. They chop it down, and this is their chance to not only take it, but hold on to it to the very end.
Can they maintain it is the question as the aggression continues from the players below. Vadil now with another elimination. That's 4. 3 medkits as well in the inventory.
Skydune's gonna get taken down. 4 more points for them, but the Kings on top of the castle, they can hold on to it. CZB, he's traveling through as a solo. Malabuka's still alive, making his way through as well. So many teams trying to have a stand here in the first game of halftime, game 4 on the day.
Chemistry at an all-time high in this match with all the duos that are currently
Buonasera, buonasera, sono tornato. Più forte di prima.
And what's happening in the clouds? Do they see an option? Do they see an
Io sto
opportunity?
per
It's also Vanilla and Reason.
abbandonare
Same
Mr.
idea.
Savage.
Multiple teams looking up and trying to make
Cosa stai
high ground
facendo?
the point of their strategy, but they get tagged up back. Tayson Veno putting pressure down, not wanting to let it go easy, but the persistence is
Down
there.
from like flash
They're gonna have to
before
drop down
the
pressure.
opening to the
Running
sun
low on
above.
materials now. They're gonna look for those impacts. Mustache and Malabuka, they have the advantage being a duo, but can they find the solos?
Oh, no.
Mustache gets dropped down. He's taken out. Malabuka is now one of them.
It was going to be a trade. Vortexers gets chopped as well. Voco gets taken down. So it's all up to Malabuka by himself to see if he
Oh,
can
Malabuka,
push
120
one of the
punti?
few solos still left in the game.
Ma sì, ma fra Fadel ce n'ha 2,36.
Vabbè, ma in tutti i game, non in questo.
Mr. Savage ne ha 4
Ah sì, ovvio.
Buff ne ha 0 in
That's the
tutti.
only team that's a full duo at the blow ground. That's Pablo, that's Bevies. Veno, he's trying to make a play. Flowberry Fizz coming out. He drops from above. It's not going to be enough. He gets taken down by Bevies.
140 punti. E questo qua ha fatto tutta la top in game. Beh, ovvio. Sei prima di me di top, ti conviene. Oh, Darkiz! Ma dietro? Ma non ha medikit, mi sa.
medkits left. It's Pablo, it's Bevies that take the win.
Chi ha vinto?
E che ha vinto?
Hanno vinto. Questo era,
Oh, Pizza non è più in ritardo del radio. No, non credo.
All'inizio Marzone e Nezza che cari insieme.
Mi sa che ha vinto Veno.
Sì,
Veno.
Hanno droppato Merstac. È morto Merstac.
Ma Simone c'hai la linea in ritardo, di Mr. Savage che in retardissimo live.
Hanno vinto Veno.
Hai vinto?
No, Bevis è in...
Quell'altro come si chiama?
No, io buco e lag.
Pablo Window, ok.
Pablo Wingo.
Valentino mi mangio il mio yogurt.
Ho capito.
Il mio yogurt greco. Che sei Samu, sì? Samu? Ci sei? Ok, ok. Facilo dove è finito, raga?
I will let you know as soon as I can, boys, and I can't wait to see yet again. I always say that I know.
Oh, ma Ricky a Corrare tornava.
And it was really exciting to see some of the big duos finally make it to the final fights in that final.
C'è il selvaggio in piedi.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking we're
Che voce ha quello? Level 2K.
preposterous is that idea, right? It feels like it's all we've seen so far.
Sai che sembra?
A different type of heel off mini because you know,
Ma è ovvio, è un negoziante. È un negoziante. È un negoziante.
So it's like, yeah, a lot of those teams are sort of just like in shambles. Let's just heat off to try and get as much placement as possible, which definitely worked, but different type of heel off for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't like a
C'era l'intro di Mr. Savage. C'era l'intro di Mr. Savage, poi è scomparso Mr. Savage.
Chi sono quelli con 230 punti? Oh.
Pablo and Bevies, what a fantastic performance from this duo. A duo that have had a really difficult season, particularly when it comes to off spawn, and they've had a lot of trouble making these end games. When they do, when they're above surge, when they're in those good situations, they have the good mats and the good loot to actually make something happen. They make amazing things happen. And we've seen
2.36, madonna.
from this team in that mid to low ground area. We've seen
Belusi e Gabix comunque sempre undicesimi, eh. Oh, di Darkiz. Noni. Due italiani in top 10. Cioè 4 italiani in top 10 in realtà.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the amount of times I've watched
No, Belusi è in top 11. Vabbè, più o meno.
this season has been pretty funny to be
Oh,
honest.
buono.
You know, in the grand
5
finals,
italiani
they
in top
finally sort of had a
50.
bit more of an advantage in terms of less contested.
Perché
To
5?
be honest, Minnie, I really do think this team is one that has a lot to prove. I think they reached a really big height last year, and a lot of people sort of thought that was going to be the norm for them. And
Il selvaggio con 4 punti.
that expectation. And so, you know, this grand this year.
Chi sta guardando Mongrel? Ma Mongrel c'ha la luce divina sullo schermo. Guardalo quanto è illuminato.
Their plastic fruition, as you mentioned as well, the fact that this is a duo that's actually comfortable playing at all 3 levels, because my memories of them in the end game have always been to do with their successes being on high ground. Minnie, you know them a lot better than I do, so hopefully that adaptability is something that's going to take them really far. Let's check out the leaderboard though, because this is going to be a really interesting one to look at. One of the things to take note of, I think we can see there in 7th place, Janice and Flixie. To be honest, I'm surprised to see them even in the top 10 anymore, because Mini Miner, they have been struggling with the fact that the zone, not once but twice, has come to their Reckless Railways drop spot. And you would have thought that would be in their favour, but is the location of this spot being so central and being
Ma Tyson e Veno dove sono?
the
Eccoli.
reason for their
Ultimi.
Oh, Conti downfall, that was so harsh. Their recent downfall.
E poi sotto Aveno e Tyson ci sono Gabix e
Why you
Belusi.
do that, Frankie? Anyway, no, it shouldn't be a problem for them, right? It should not, because they've had success when the
Con
zone is in that area. Remember it, day 2,
132 punti. 2 punti in meno hanno.
Reckless Railways, and they won on height, so they should have the
Neanche
experience,
troppo.
they should have the talent to deal with that situation. Because a lot of people say, for context, that when the zone is on your POI, it's difficult to get surged because you don't have people rotating next. You don't rotate next to other people.
Comunque stanno facendo schifo,
But you should have the
mamma mia.
facilities, and I broke it down at the beginning of the show. They have the strategies to alleviate that,
Sinceramente godo. Sì, sì. Perché? Nella 10. E ogni video su YouTube era Best FNCS 2.
Yeah, and that was one of the fears they had, right? You know,
Boh, esplode.
CD, I
Un
believe
selvaggio.
he said none, right? He was very confident.
Io spero che vince. Cioè, top 10.
Ma sì, ma top 10 sicuro, adesso la ribaltano. Fanno 150 punti solo sto game.
Vabbè, sì, ci sono.
Vabbè, prima hanno fatto 180 quelli prima.
Ne hanno fatto uno, quindi sono 8 punti adesso.
Ma lo troppo forti. In 6 game li facevo di più io.
Veramente io e te.
Solo io da solo. Oh, eccoli.
12 punti.
2 punti. 12, perché 12?
Dico Savage.
Perché 12? Hanno fatto 3 kill.
Ho fatto 2 kill. Ma 8 punti, sono fatto 8 punti sto game e 12. Quindi sono 12.
Ah, adesso si contano in generale.
Sì, sì.
It's not going right for them at the moment in the early games, Mini.
Yeah, it's not. I think that's why a lot of people wouldn't have put them in their
Ma allora
predictions for this FNCS. Not that they're a bad
contestati
team, not that they
Mongrel.
can't do it. Not that they've got
boh, ragazzi, a me
the
fanno
other
100
team
punti sto
contesting
game.
them, and it's Noms and
10.
Quincy are doing
Ma
a
lo prendono
decent job of that
adesso.
so far. They're ruffling their
80.
Non c'hanno nulla.
Ma che prendi?
for Queasy and Thomas, and even that endgame, we saw Cringe and Noms having a very decent endgame. So it just shows that they're not likely to switch drop spots if they're getting absolutely destroyed.
Right, well, let's see what happens in game number 5.
Ci
I
preso
don't
la
know
pizza,
why
il
I'm
pizza.
so anxious about these games. I just want all the duos to survive off spawn. But that's not how Fortnite works. And to be honest, it's a good
50,
thing.
io non ce li ho.
We wouldn't get the drama. We deserve it. We hope we get it in game
Se
number
l'hanno
5.
fatta a non morire.
Manda per gol.
You want everybody to stay up off spawn, Frankie? Look, I'll tell you right now, that's not happening. Pure chaos action is what we've been seeing in these matches. Game 5 coming soon. Just 2 more matches to be played out today. But there's a whole other 6 matches tomorrow.
hanno fatto
It's a
8
two-day
punti.
competition for these grand finals.
8 punti,
And my
2
question,
kill.
Jacob, is, what changes
Tutte e due
are
fave,
these duos
perché
going to make going into day 2?
Sabe
And
ci
even what
pariamo.
changes are they going to make going into these last 2 matches of the day?
Più o meno.
I can only imagine some at the top of my head, and the first one is that forecast tower. Even though
Fatto
we
il
have
selvaggio, mi
seen
sono
some
tirati
fights
colpi.
go down around the forecast tower,
Entrambi hanno missato i
some of
colpi.
them are going through uncontested. Will that trend continue? The second to last game of the day starts
E che
right now.
c'è?
Aspetta, il selvaggio.
Pressure is on for all the duos in the lobby. A lot of them contested right off the start of the
La
match. 3
riusciranno a fare una
duos
partita buona.
contesting
Fanno una
fencing
partita praticamente
fields,
perché
multiple battling their position in the forecast towers. But we're starting with Reason and the Deal, our #1 duo currently on the leaderboard. Will they hold on to it?
Cos'era?
Quanto viola!
Eh?
È la prima cassa.
Il pompa.
Prima cassa Pampiola, tra
Sabi ci ha
l'altro.
trovato il armi leggendario, bro.
E sbocco.
At the start of the Snooty Steps drop,
Più o
they got
meno, bro.
O lo usi come mitraglietta o fa schifo.
so already they could take a fight against Pixie and Wax.
No,
Se lo usi
bro,
come mitraglietta è rotto.
Il gendarme come mitra. Spara un colpo di
È rotto.
papa.
Perché, no, perché fai 120 col pump, quindi fai 2 di quello e
Franco, togli 40 colpo.
Quello leggendario 44 in body.
Nico picked up that
Non è vero,
frenzy auto
quello
shotgun,
leggendario 37
putting them
l'hanno fissato.
No, 44 in body.
to have the upper hand on this
Ah,
battle.
te l'ho
As
appena,
Kendall was trying to stay up
l'ho appena
above,
fatto un
but
body.
Vico is going to be able to finish off both players here.
Dipende dalla distanza, Simo.
And now
Ovvio che se lo fa dato.
they're gonna get a shot at redemption. Forecast
Controlla i danni, vai, vai.
should be theirs. Venom
Io,
and
appunto-
Tayson do not decide
Controllo, li
to
controlliamo dopo in
contest it.
gradivo.
And we'll see if they can
No,
continue
secondo
with
me
their
per
reign.
me vincono
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Vaden.
same thing though. It's that
Veredo.
forecast tower specifically that's garnering.
Ma primo giorno dici completamente.
Vabbè, questo qua sì, questo qua sì. Ma domani c'è un altro game, se sono altri 6 game.
Tino in the feed, taking out both King and Phaser.
Thomas HD
Yet again,
in
they're struggling.
un'ora ha fatto
Go ahead and continue, but honestly,
6
coming
punti.
all the way around the world is huge
Baffo
for them.
in
Squeezy and Venus
16
for
in
redemption
5
is not
game
on the
ne
bridge.
ha fatti.
Took the fight to them
Esattamente,
very, very early
0.
on that last game.
Però che sfiga.
Lavish Lair, it's always important to stay
Mr.
elevated. When
Savage
you're
ne fa
dropping
uno
against your
perché
opponents, you want to land on the
finita
top
l'ora
side.
poi.
La cosa bella è che Mr. Savage e Mongrel non si sono qualificati alle lower. Niente, non si è parlato.
Sono
Quindi boh.
qualificati, no, non si sono qualificati là, sono qualificati alle lower.
Sì, scusa, ma cosa dire.
Is always possible.
Scusate, 26esimi alle upper.
Contest and move over in this direction yet again, and there's another team on top of the mountain, a fourth party coming in, there's a fifth party on the outskirts, so Savage and Mongrel cannot catch a break here in the day, but sometimes the respect is earned, it's not given.
Come è morto Mongrel? Ah, io.
Of the past, it's all
No,
about
non sto aspettando niente.
nobody's really showing them the respect on
È
this
morto
drop
il selvaggio
spot
quasi.
so far.
You can even
Dai,
see the
vita.
third parties who are interested. They know.
Ma ha ammazzato uno.
Nobody's gotten eliminated yet. They must be still.
Il brutto dell'FNCS è che se trovi allo start poi devi aspettare un'ora. Cioè, 20 minuti. Perché non ci sono altri play.
As Mongrel and
Anche se torni se trovi allo start, vabbè, c'hai gli altri game. Però vabbè.
it's not worth it to continue trying to find
Esatto.
those elims as they're gonna just drop back down to the
Ne ha
little
due, fra, è
turtle
morto.
base they've made and continue refarming materials.
Which is good for them to try to survive in this situation.
Morto.
Everything
Ma
for
ce
them
n'è
is
altri
gonna
due
be halted.
davanti.
There's only a limited amount of materials, limited amount of loot that they're able to gather in this
Un altro
position.
gendarme
So
leggendario per
Sta
il mio
panicando.
very
Mr.
interesting
Savage sta
how,
panicando,
if, when, even they're gonna be able to kind of
Guarda
make
come
it
sta
out of their
messo.
drop spot. And if they do, are they gonna be able to do it
6 di
unscathed?
vita e 50 di scudo.
Once again, Malibuca Merch Stash.
Mongrel sarà disperato.
Ma a me sta di chi è il mate?
They've gotten
Di...
the mythic loot, the medallion.
Ah, ok, ok. Ah, c'è scritto pure sotto. Sono una bravissima persona.
All these materials, all this
Sei un
ammunition
autista.
really just
Sono un negoziante.
sets you up
In
for
spagnolo
success
si
in the
dice
mid
sei,
game.
sei un autista,
To
sei un
capitalize on it.
autista.
But it's not like the duos
Taco.
just instantly disengaged. They're still in the surrounding area. They're still kind of interested to see if anything can come from it.
Allora, io l'ho rimesso bene. Cioè, oh, 2 pesci. È
But not
full.
too tough though. Malibuca Merstash
Quasi.
practicing against the contested drop spot. Things going their way.
Oh,
They
no, la
won
mitraglietta per
each and every single
per,
game. Pink Vico, they won that contested fight.
Per
Surprised
l'Ivan.
La noia.
this time around, but
Oh, Dyson!
it's not working. I feel
Cioè,
like
Mr.
they're making
Savage
the
ha
right move
un
here,
team
trying to
dietro, un
switch
team
things up the
davanti,
best.
un team da destra e sinistra.
No, ma sei entra qua sotto è morto.
Trying to fish up anything they can. The floppers, the shield fish. They do have
Incredibile, non c'è
shield
nessuno.
breaker EMPs. They can do it more
Ma che
efficiently.
Se c'entravo io c'erano 4 team boxati che mi
As we
aspettavano.
can see, Hen and Ski once again.
Tra l'altro tutti con la K
Elevated,
viola. E col
looking
pump
around
leggendario.
Col
Spammone.
spam leggendario.
at
Esatto.
their opportunities.
Speriamo dietro
So
l'angolino
far,
finché non
if you look at the
passate.
mini-map, it's not like there's a lot close by.
Yeah. For them, they just
Ma
gotta
non può
position
manco
up
restare.
over towards the forecast
Cosa sta
tower.
facendo?
This
Io guarda.
isn't the first time here on the day that they've been able to
Ha preso la
claim
scheda,
it.
sì. Ma dove resta?
Uncontested even. Nobody's really
Impossibile.
rotating in this direction and towards this
Se
side.
parlano
Ma guarda,
di
ma
solito.
guarda dove si sono boxati quelli.
Each other.
Sulla torre si sono
Sulla
boxati.
torre,
Going on
sì,
their
sì.
merry way. Pink
Box
and Vico
3x3.
about face
Sulla
to go
torre.
back to
3x3.
their own forecast tower. So already 2 of the 3.
Madonna,
Presa.
in quel box lì ci stanno 9 persone.
Presa.
Robin,
Presa c'è sta
Ha
facendo.
fatto
Oh, buona
un
Roger.
down.
Scusa, scusa.
Looks like he's
Cosa
boxed up
che ha
right
fatto?
beside him.
Non ho capito.
Ah,
No, ma la
tutti,
team, no,
ragazzi.
Niente,
Oh,
ragazzi.
sì.
Niente.
Ho presa, c'è 4 punti.
Mamma mia,
As the
fate
third
la
parties come through.
Cinque-
IR Buffo and his duo partner.
5
I
punti.
mentioned it
Cioè,
earlier.
Oh,
4
mi sembra c'è ancora 8 di vita. Ah no, è in ritardo la live
Mamma
del...
mia, c'era 75
Madonna.
punti.
CS finals for over
Ehi,
1200 days before
Mr.
this.
Savage ha fatto 171 con
Is now Mr.
gendarme con 2
Savage
colpi.
with only 50 shield.
170?
171 con 2 colpi l'ha fatto.
Perché in testa fa 80 tipo.
Make it out of this situation, especially against
Ma non è vero,
a
impossibile, in testa non fa 80, fa
like
70 in
Merstash
testa.
and Malibuca.
Probabilmente gli ha fatto 3 body. O 4 body.
He's able to buy himself
Non
some
so.
time, disengage with a crash.
Sì, sì, 4 body probabilmente fa 44, 88, 100 qualcosa e
Already looted down to the scraps by
122, 168.
land at that POI.
Prese solo. Potrebbe restare.
Luca Merstash, now that they're not having
No,
to
non
fight
è-
off players at fencing fields, are now going to have to
Può
go on
restare.
the lookout to where they're going to get the surge from, and that's why you see them
non
pressing against a
era
lot of
noia.
these teams into the distance,
Total.
taking some shots onto Mr. Savage, who's once again
Samu, ci
to
sei?
escape and disengage, but right in
Chiuso?
the hands of Prism and Casper.
Cosa?
Ci sei?
Rough match
Ok, ok.
for Mr. Savage here.
Ma cosa stanno facendo questi? Perché Buff usa le scene?
As he's gonna have to kind of spend his time refarming, relooting until he has a safe option to pick up Mongrel once again. Shimoki
No.
on the other hand, full
Cioè,
duo to
Mister
work
Savage ha
with.
91.000
Un close by.
spettatori.
Venno on the hill.
Oh, Ricky, buonasera.
Jason continuing to rotate through. Neb's eye drop.
Buonasera.
Getting ahead of the pack.
Buonasera Ricky
As
One.
Shimoki
Buonasera Ricky One.
quickly will continue on their rotate.
È morto il Q1.
Meet Smokey. Wouldn't necessarily say they're having a quiet game. You see they're on the
Ah,
prima di tutto
plays.
Sì, sì, sì.
It's not necessarily flash. You don't
No, Ricky One perché sei il numero uno, è per quello.
Sì, sì, ci mancherebbe altro. Io non spammerei mai quella parola.
Ma dove mi stavo già restare? Ma va Scalini, ma cosa è Scalini? Scusate, non
No, sai com'è? Prima...
Ah, no, non è Scalini, versante.
Prima
uno ha tirato 3 N Word di fila.
Oh,
Ecco, negoziante. Così.
Bello, però io vedo ancora Dio sodio.
No.
Come scusa?
Diossido
Dove scusa?
Ma non giochiamo adesso, non giochiamo adesso. Stiamo andando con la K.
A World Cup.
La World... No, non è la World...
No, trollare.
Oh, Belusi è morto, Belusi è morto? Dove?
Morto Mr. Savage, voglio.
Io fossi pink mi
Madonna.
permetterei a fare gli alzalivelli quelli che ti stanno dietro.
Vediamo.
È vero. Ma come è morto, Savage? Ma chi ha killato?
Veramente o è morto di
No,
safe.
no, anonimo, uno l'ha venuto a pushare.
Ma come c'è l'anonimo, il brother?
Vabbè ragazzi, 16 punti, 16 punti per il mister.
Ma cosa ti faceva esattamente qui?
In 16 punti in 12 game, let's go. Veramente, oh, best 2 FNCS, Ground Finals, Training, eccetera, poi fa 10 punti.
Io li baffo, dai.
Esatto.
What do you think is gonna win FNCS?
Quinto game. Ma questo dovrebbe essere il penultimo game, giusto?
Ah no, ma questo qua, quello che ha killato il selvaggio non ha neanche la scheda, o sì?
Raga.
No, è morto.
No, mi sa che ce l'ha però non si vede, mi sa che è buggato.
Eddie,
Dimmi.
ma questo è il penultimo game, giusto? Questo è il quinto.
Sì, il penultimo game di Mr. Savage.
Pubblicità ragazzi.
No, lo so, guarda, non l'ho data.
Per la decima volta mettere questa pubblicità.
Lui non fa guadagnare Twitch per farsi guadagnare da solo.
Ah, sta con sta cosa.
Penultimo game e poi
4 volte l'ho fatta vedere.
si gioca.
4 volte
Sì, 5 di
fatto
6.
vedere
L'ultimo.
sta cavolo di roba.
Sì, questo è il penultimo, poi domani altri 6.
Oh, Veno! Oh!
Quindi
Ah, no, niente.
manca l'ultimo, scusami. Non dura fino alle 15:30, quindi io devo chiudere live prima perché non c'ho.
No, dura fino alle 10 e un quarto. In teoria fino alle 10 e un quarto, ma alle 10 e un quarto puoi ancora startare. In teoria. Vabbè, però non è un... vabbè, sì. Dura più o meno fino alle 10 e 20, vedo, 10 e un quarto. O comunque è buonissimo, Cioè, è buonissimo per Belusi e Dark. Dov'è Rickborn? No, Rickborn non è in classifica. Ah sì, è in classifica, 4 punti. Beh, non ci credo, raga. Ci sono Mongal e il Selvaggio 49esimi e Baffo e Predator 50esimi. Però in realtà non è ancora finito il game, quindi possono ancora salire Baffo e Predator.
Oh, Buff hanno fatto 4 punti, attenzione.
Ma... hanno ancora tutto il game, cioè mezzo game.
Pablo un incubo l'ha presa.
Pablo gets sniped. He has no choice but to
Pablo
literally stop in his
Pablo
tracks,
gets sniped,
try to heal
and he
up.
has no
What they
choice.
thought was free points has the possibility
Free
of saving
point.
them, but
Oh, ma l'hanno sniperato anche l'altro. Li hanno obliterati, li hanno.
Ragazzi, io vado a giocare a Fortnite.
Ok, ok. Io mi sa che sto ancora questo game qua, poi vado a fare
Mi sa
qualcosa.
che devo pure
No, ma io
io
voglio
le palle.
Raga, io mi invito la stream e vado...
Facciamo rank Xbox.
Siamo in 12, però...
Siamo in 4.
No, siamo in 6.
Pablo Wing.
Sì, siamo in 6.
Pablo Wing.
Vabbè, Simo 2010 gioca?
Sì.
Ok.
Cosa?
Non gioca.
Vabbè, ma ci dividiamo facciamo trio e trio. Ci dice il
Io con la Eddy a posto e con la trio a posto fatta la trio.
No, io devo giocare con il mio cugino di quinto grado.
Oh, ma zio è in live.
Io vado a giocare con lo boss.
Ma zio è in live.
Sai che non so di che grado siamo?
Chi, Mazzinga? Ma Mazzinga entra in live alle 10:15 così.
È live adesso.
E ci sono, raga. Cosa mi sono perso?
Niente, si è perso il selvaggio e Mongrel che hanno fatto 10 punti.
Abbiamo preso sono dei bot, li batto con
Cinque-
io il selvaggio non gra- soprattutto il selvaggio.
Noi ne guardiamo quanti ha fatto il selvaggio in Mongrel.
Pochi. Sono
Sì, fra
tipo
ma
16.
una schifo.
Oh, Miki in live a quest'ora? No?
Sì, c'è Simo.
Miki e Mazzi.
Nicky Savage.
No, non è Niki Savage. Non è Niki Savage, fidati. Mr. Savage!
Andiamo a giocare da Storto Man Drop.
Ah, Eddy ce la sa. Non è vero. Eddy che veramente guarda. Hai preferito dare un solo a Mazzing e non a Stortino. Veramente. Saluti Ayrton, saluti Ayrton.
Intanto.
A Stortino usa il flow? Per caso? Usa il flow, tipo il modo per tenere il pad?
Non credo.
Non gioca in claw, non c'ha le mani.
Non c'ha le mani addirittura mi sono così.
Se c'ha storte, oh.
Allora.
Per 10 secondi.
Guarda.
Se donati il simbolo del ti amo con la manina.
Ma io non posso dire Stortino. Oh, ho preso un crampo.
Il cuoricino col puzzle. Il cappellino. Non possiamo sparare per un minuto.
No, non volevo dire che peccato.
Per 10 secondi. La pizza invece dobbiamo buttare la nostra arma con il guanto. Con la giraffa
Non posso sentire però Stortino
dovremmo
che
sia io
parla, mi
che
viene proprio
Mazinga
tosse.
o solo Mazinga
Devi dirle la cosa.
e il simbolo della coppa invece dobbiamo buttare
Tu
e se arriverà
75, madonna. Belusi undicesimo.
Ancora? È finito il game?
No, Leadboard points.
Oh, Eddy, non vedo più. Io stavo sniperando Eddy.
Ciao Franci, come stai? Bello.
Dove siete?
Io inizio a entrare su support. Io inizio a entrare su support.
Io sono già dentro.
Non puoi dire più.
C'è ultimo e eccetera. Il selvaggio. Da trollare così. Penso a trollare quello da 4 milioni.
Ma io mi direi che non sarei molto contento.
Per non
Direi,
dire
sì. Ma se tanto io la vinco, l'FNCS, soltanto che non ho giocato per lasciare posto anche alle altre persone.
È ovvio, al selvaggio, devi essere portato al selvaggio però...
Però trollata, sto rimbambito, non parlo di altro. Perché mio fratello è Eddy in live.
Ma Tyson che posizione è?
È il 10º. Mi va bene.
No, raga, non fa.
Decimo, poi no, Belusi per 2 punti è 11esimo. Mai.
Ma le hai riprese per me?
Hanno trovato?
Non lo so. Non credo.
No, mi sa di sì. Insomma.
No, te li aggiornerebbe.
Aspetta, vediamo. No, Tyson. Vabbè, sono ancora 71, ma vediamo, ma si vede. Un attimo.
Ricky ti ho invitato.
Niente, adesso che ho aperto dei pit, dopo che ho aspettato 1 anno e mezzo e 25 secondi, lei mi invita. Che
Com'è
cavolo vuoi?
andata la cena di famiglia?
Boia, uno schifo. Ho mangiato una pizza con la salsiccia, molto molto buona.
Madonna, c'è Fiarielli.
No, Fiorelli no, mi fanno
Oh,
cappare.
Simone. Eddy, mutami un attimo.
Aspetta. Muto la live, dimmi. Ho mutato la live, ho mutato, tranquillo. Vai, dilla. Sì. Voi avete capito, ragazzi? Perdonami.
To heal back up. The opponents know
Colò.
to be crouched.
Tanto quello smico domani non riesce a...
Somebody just got taken out. You saw Smokey go from 56 above to over 200 above. And I saw on the video might have one of them. Prism goes down.
No, toglila, per favore.
Kind of lighten up this game. And you know exactly teams needed to go down.
Comunque non si capisce cosa dici, quindi è un po'...
No, non solo fastidio.
Mamma mia.
Which is it gonna be? Reason only 14 above. Having lost
ragazzi, Buffo
Non
e
è
Mirage superano Mr. Savage.
Mr. Savage, Mr. Savage.
Mr. Cabbage.
Leva la Sambo.
Oh, non è possibile però.
Senti pronto, Simo.
Devo cambiare da qua.
Cazzi, hai Buffo e Predage, 12 punti.
Ma Belusi è morto, non ho capito.
No, credo sempre io.
Sono in 55.
Ti giuro che se fanno top 5 potrei esplodere nel gioco. Comunque
Redson 240 punti.
Chi?
Redson.
Ah, quello di prima.
I primi sono sarebbero, giusto?
No, i primi sono Reale e un altro.
Reale vade.
Esatto.
Redson, quello che ho detto io, sono 240.
Ah, chi l'aveva capito? Vabbè, ma c'hanno 230 punti da prima. Non è ancora finito il game.
Ma c'è scritto 236, poi i cartelli hanno 240, però vabbè, ci sta.
Ma deve ancora aggiornarsi.
Sì. No, voglio vedere Belusi che vince il game e arriva a top 5.
No, io voglio Belusi che
ma è morto Belusi, quasi sicuro, perché sennò lo facevano vedere.
Ma no, non ci mettono, cioè non... Fortnite non ha ancora fatto... Comunque Fortnite non ha ancora messo la panoramica su un player italiano. Almeno da quando l'ho vista io la live non hanno ancora messo il player italiano nella cosa.
Sì, non ha messo Buffo.
Quello che è l'unico che va a 0 punti.
Sì, esatto.
Vediamo se lo vedo,
Siamo entrato adesso.
Bello Simo. Io devo in game?
Ma di buca. Boh, non l'ho visto. Non so se c'è ancora Belusi.
Devo prendermi una scheda video il prima possibile.
No, devi smettere questa scheda video.
Devi prendere una bella RX 7800 XTX. No, devo ancora prenderlo. Ma quasi quasi mi prendo una bella 7800 XTX della Radeon, così faccio 8000 fps.
Dove sei? Buffo è vivo. Buffo è ancora vivo.
Il piano per quest'anno, raga, era studiare per prendermi una scheda video, invece è tramutato per studiare per prendermi solo al gamba. E teoricamente l'anno prossimo mi prendo la moto, quindi la scheda video si può fare.
Prendi il brum brum.
Mi prendo il brum brum.
Chi è che tira i petardi davanti a casa mia? Poi vado a picchiare.
Sai che abiti in una zona abbandonabile chiamata Napoli?
No, quella lì non è abbandonabile. Tu passi a palle, hard cop e dici pure.
No.
Guarda, me li Mr. Savage, guarda come edito.
Ah, edit.
Guarda, guarda.
No, mi ha preso veramente. Mi ha preso quel checkpoint.
Comunque Belushi è morto, non lo vedo. È morto, finito.
Oh, chi che spara i fuochi? Perché hanno vinto l'FNCS. Oh, ma veramente, ragazzi, mi faccio il balcone e vedo i fuochi davanti alla mia fronte.
Vieni qua, Thomas.
È un evento molto grande, allora.
Mi distrugge.
Posso dirtelo che è un evento veramente molto grande.
Oh, ma chi si è sposato che sta sparando i fuochi? Oh, chi è entrato?
Chi è?
Entrato.
Chi è entrato?
Oh. Ah, Simone dalla
Il più grande.
Oh, li sento quadruplo.
No, 117 anni.
Dimenticato dal gioco, dimenticato dal gioco.
No, non c'è nessuno nel gioco.
Simone, vai nel roseo. Simone, vai nel roseo.
Rosa, perché sei molto bravo.
Ma perché? Tyson e
Perché sei
meno non hai ground, ragazzi, attenzione.
Oh, Simone!
Mamma mia, no, calmati, Simone.
Cos'era?
No, ma ragazzi, ma perché sta laggando? Non spiegate.
Anche me la un po' di Ginola. Oggi abbiamo fatto un game con Ginola. Avevamo 60 di ping fisso perché c'è il server in Oceania.
Beh, tra Piemonte e Lapponia.
Comunque, palesemente, noi che abbiamo iniziato a ranco forte non possiamo competere con Ginola.
Ragazzi, air buff ancora vivo.
Oh, quanti punti hanno? 30. 40 punti.
Non credo siano loro.
Simone Caput Mundi. Capitale. Oh, chi è che sta arrivando col
Sì, ragazzi, sono ancora vivi.
No, morto no,
Morto buff.
Ma però vedi che appena parlai di muoiono tutti.
No, sto laggando, aspetta, non mi pushare. C'ho 174 di
Quello molto bravo in questa partita rank.
No, non mi dirmi troppo, ti stiamo lasciando stare.
Ciao Henry Games.
Devi lasciare.
Quando vedi il timer che finisce, chiudo la live.
Ok, ci sono.
Bello. Mio, mio.
Niente, sto tornando. No, ok, 30.
Rezzo, sono ancora vivo. Sono ancora vivo, Rezzo.
No, è vero.
Devi tornare a casa.
Ma stai in
No, ho appena parlato, ho morto Rezzo.
No, guarda. Tu mi vedi che sto laggando di qua.
Ma non me ne frega niente che stai laggando, sei un po' spammone, sei veramente un umore. Umore.
Io lo silenzierei.
Oh, Tyson hai ground, attenzione. Veno.
Ma mi dovete fermare entrambi.
Sì, il duo Veno è sceso giù a pushare come un matto.
Che il pazzo.
Eccolo Veno.
Addio ai mirini.
Tyson ha preso dai ground.
Mazzinga in live, Mazzinga sta facendo la live tipo estrema. Ehi.
Guardati un attimo.
Ma sei un pro? Dove sei? Ah, raga, mi sta facendo la phishing. Niente.
Serio?
Sì, sta facendo la phishing.
Ma non ho capito, è morto.
Ma perché stiamo sul pannolino nello skin?
Ma non sta facendo la fish, cosa stai dicendo?
Oh, stiamo attivando l'inblock.
Veno si sta mangiando proprio.
Merda, sono morto.
A colazione? Vediamo le top.
Oddio,
Sono morti
È morto Thomas.
No, Thomas.
Attenzione.
Ma Thomas non è neanche un po' dietro.
Sì, vabbè.
Malibuga sta da solo, è morto in due.
Non gioco, ragazzi, non gioco.
No,
calma.
Ma il tua merda.
No, sto laggando, ma perché io sto
No, è
laggando?
morto Veno.
Oh, mi pare.
2 contro 1 contro 1, attenzione.
No, zio, ma sto laggando fortissimo.
Malibuga può perdere con 5.
Oh.
Vabbè, ha perso Malibuga, no, ma Sì, è morto. Aia.
He does a good job of blocking off Mixon, feeding him to the wolves on the low ground.
vinto
Charlie here is 6 eliminations so far, but Malbuka not going down.
No, zio, ti giuro inizia. Oh, l'ho preso.
But gets denied entry. There goes a big
Niente
game
ragazzi,
for Geary's and
58 punti
Charlie.
era baffo.
Oh,
Non
ma cos'è?
credere.
58 punti sono top 30, eh? Top 32.
Il più duro dei duri.
Vediamo.
Però non sono insieme giornate, cioè
Aiarba.
Giornata, vediamo. No, Belusi 17esimo.
Sì, però Simo non possiamo giocare così, hai capito? Perché ti butti giù?
No, Belusi 17esimo.
Pappo 36esimo. E
vedi.
Belusi 17esimo. No.
Darky,
vabbè.
no, 16esimi. Sono scesi tutti gli italiani, non ci posso credere, raga.
Guarda come cazzo sta giocando.
Top 20 tutti gli italiani.
Belusi top 17 non è male.
E ci sono anche Darky e Darkies che sono 16esimi italiani.
Oh, ma basta, la gamma, che cazzo
Ma dai,
c'è?
questo è ancora un game. Hanno ancora un game, confido in Belusi che...
Perché mo devono fare l'ultimo game.
Niente,
Tanto adesso arriva Gabis col suo Cronos.
Thanks, guys.
Ma manca l'ultimo. Attenzione.
I feel all nostalgic. It's like we're
Ma sì, ma non sono 10 punti, dovrebbero fare tipo 200 punti in un game, che è infattibile.
Ma è impossibile.
Comunque
Sì, devono...
second place. But Gyros
Il
and
tipo a
Charlie
destra, quello
were
lì
the
che avevano
ones
detto
to
prima che
take
fosse
it
sembrava
all. This is a
obbligato.
sneaky beaky
Mi
duo. They are
sinceramente
no
obbligato per
stranger
questa
to a victory royale in a grand final.
Cosa?
No, io vedo nel giallo, No, non venire con me. Puzzi nel gioco. Vai nel rosa, io vedo nel giallo. No, nel rosa. Nel rosa, no. Veramente un negoziante, fatelo dire. Sei obscuro.
No, adesso non sto laggando. Voglio vedere. Devi rompere ancora le palle per il pompa. Andato stato.
Nel gioco, ragazzi.
Selvaggio si avvicina alla scrivania.
Eddy. Ma dopo live giochi o chiudi? Ah, posso.
5 minuti.
No,
Ciao Isla, melody.
Quanto manca la live?
5 minuti mancano.
Vabbè, però fai vedere, fallo vedere l'ultimo game.
niente. Ma quando fai to lag? Ma perché?
Ma?
Vado al primo. Malibuca
Casino, raga,
secondo.
questo casino.
Raga, Malibuca
Ma il
secondo.
buco secondo, ma che dici?
Malibuca secondo.
Sì, è vero, ma il buco secondo, 240 punti, attenzione. Aia. Oh, Tyson e Veno sesti, Thomas settimo, Acqua. Acqua nono, top 10 Acqua. Bello.
Quindi Thomas, settimi, Veno, Tyson, sesti. Paolo,
No, dopo che ti ho fatto tutto questo.
Cosa dici, non ho capito.
Però che schifo. Mongrel e Savage, dai, non me lo aspettavo proprio, 47esimi. Cioè, ha più punti di baffo. Sì, ma hanno fatto schifo.
Due win domani no, qua.
Innanzitutto non sono qualificati a domani, mi sa. Ah no, in realtà sì, perché sono 50 team, sto scherzando.
Io sono qualificati.
Che vuoi, Simone?
Mi sono buggato. Raga, ma mi si è buggato Fortnite.
Sì. Sì. Dai, zitto, muta che da dalle due parti.
They make these guys friends, right? They make them good pals off outside of the game and off the battle bus. And when they're on it, of course, it's all about the intense battles. But it's nice to see that. Good to see Malibuca and Mustache really doing well as well, because I feel like this is a duo that's kind of gone a little bit under the radar in terms of a lot of people's predictions.
Nel gioco, ragazzi, stavo scherzando, assolutamente. Era un prank.
So
No, raga, non stavo dicendo sul serio, tranquillo.
Che ha detto? Cosa che ha detto?
Niente. Tu mi devi stare muto, se me ne stai zitto.
He was trying to get into their head, right? He's trying, 'cause
Ti do più permesso di parlare per tutta la tua vita, te lo giuro.
your situation's so good, there's no way you don't win. Now they're thinking, oh,
fai la mossa della barca.
maybe I have to.
La mossa della barca?
You know, there's a bit more pressure on you, and I think that's what people are trying to.
I am shocked to my very core. My mouth has barely been closed for the last few minutes. I'm practically catching.
La mossa della barca lo confonde.
I always knew Blood X was a cheeky one, but I didn't realize he was that crafty. I'm going to be.
Ma com'è che non ti prendo?
Closely on the
Mr. Savage!
Let's talk though about Thomas because.
Sì, vabbè, ma perché mi colpisci sempre quando
Guarda,
sei?
no aim, no aim, guarda.
Victory royale yet. We're seeing some promising moments from this duo.
Mister Selvaggio.
Always good for an
E Mongra,
elimination.
vediamo
at
se
least
riescono a
when
fare
they
un
make it out of
bollente.
that
È finito.
game.
Devo fargli un scoop, ma sei infilato sotto le scale.
Allora, se Selvaggio muore, chiudo live adesso.
Ok, ci sono. Ho cambiato l'internet, se laggo anche adesso. Se laggo anche adesso non dico cosa faccio perché potete fare spada Simone.
Nel gioco, ragazzi, nel gioco.
Sì, non penso sia bannabile. Aspetta, ma cosa è?
Perché a Simone, scusami?
Ma perché sì, è goliardico. Ma Riccardo, poverino.
Chi ha quittato?
Bro, non so. Cioè, tipo Chris si chiamava.
Ah, il Giuse.
Ma quanti giri di mappa ha fatto quel treno?
7,5 per me, no, 8 un quarto forse.
Ti svegli di 7,5 un quarto.
Stasera siamo crashati qua, la connessione della via.
Ragazzi, un minuto preciso.
Devo,
Ricky.
Il nuovo computer,
Oh, caro, dimmi.
Mi regali la scheda video?
Non ci sono soldi per mangiare, sono deciso soldi per la tua scheda video.
Intanto devi comprare la moto domani.
Domani, forse l'anno prossimo, se va bene, se tutto va bene.
Sì, va bene.
La vedo domani.
Ragazzi, 40 secondi, 39.
I like not staying on the high ground.
Il selvaggio non è morto off spawn.
È morto lo spawn il selvaggio.
Non è morto off spawn.
Ah no, è morto. Scusa, io sono un po' acustico oggi.
Cos'è che sei? Acustico.
Acustico.
Eddie.
Mi è sembrato di sentire un Audi troppo.
No, acustico.
Yeah.
Vedi Samuele, bellissimo.
Bello. Ho visto Baffo, non armi.
Oh, stai fermo tu dietro perché ti prendo a mescolate.
A mestolate.
Il timer è finito.
Quindi sei boxato in
Oh,
ferro.
agua!
Tu lei.
No, dai, ma perché c'era quella scala in mezzo?
Minchia, mi devo mettere la musica.
No, vabbè, mi devo mettere la musica.
Vabbè.
Forza.
Perché tutti
aiuto!
quanti fanno restart?
Per forza.
Dai,
Ma tu
ragazzi.
devi starti fermo, Simo.
Ciao! Mr. Savage!
Minchia, mi sono preso i tuoi bellissimi
Perché tutti quanti
Era
dicono
di Samuel,
restart?
era mio.
Beh, cecchino. Ah, Baffo, attenzione. No, come non si vede il cecchino, Baffo.
Soltanto 90 persone. Raga, non sono entrati tutti quanti, non sono entrati. Non sono entrati tutti quanti, sono solo 90 persone.
Io sto mettendo la musica.
Sono 80.
Sono
all'inizio,
90.
ma a me c'è scritto 80, sono in Baffo.
Io mi stavo mettendo la musica.
Ma Mongra ha rallentato.
Non ti vergogni.
Sì.
Pure
Sì, vabbè, ma dipende pure perché praticamente Savage, cioè tutti mettono in ritardo alla live per forza.
Guido, Thomas e Quisi non sono contestati, Thomas e Quisi.
Penso
Che erano sempre...
No, raga, ho impostato il gioco a 60 fps. Non ci vedo. No, è tutto... Che sbocco.
Mhm.
Vuoi vedere come sento mo mi hai intrigato.
Mi sa che Malibu che non è entrato.
Sono troppo abituato a 140, aiuto. Dove è quello?
Bello.
Ma non piangere lì, mamma mia. Che bambino.
Intanto ti ho cleanapato con 60 fps.
Sì, tanto perché sei una
Sì, me l'ha
ragazzina.
fatto apposta, Golo. Non ti voleva...
Restart,
voleva distruggere.
idioti.
Io sono un pacifista, sì, io non attacco.
Mm.
Vabbè ragazzi, io ringrazio i ragazzi come è stati in live fino ad adesso. Il timer è finito.
Però
Quindi non
il
si
gay
continua. I game ne
continua
abbiamo visti
stesso.
5. Ho fatto
Dobbiamo
male
vedere il
io.
sesto.
Ho fatto il calcolo io male, quindi chiudo tutto quanto. Chiudiamo anche il selvaggio. Chiudiamo anche il pizza. E vi saluto ragazzi. Ci vediamo